worth it for you. That's the best way to talk. We can talk about it with some of the ads. It's like the trade has to be worth it relative to how much you're risking. Like you don't want to risk 10 times what you're going to make on the trade. So I was waiting for it to get into VWAP. A little bit different here. Open door still looking pretty solid. Looking up to see if Palantir is setting up again. It's not, but as 11 o'clock, the actual name I'm looking to take a third swing on. Breakout trades, one thing. Pretty standard, breakout, give it to the prior. I'll have that set up. It works, it doesn't. I'm looking to capture this move in here. But one shot at a curl. Here comes the second.
Oh, Google. Oh, my God.
On right now on Intel. So the all-day trend is breaking as we speak on Intel. This would be a play back into the volume weighted average price. Waited for it to try to fill in the entirety of the gap, and then just take that one shot where you have your reasonable in. I know when I'm getting in, I know where I'm getting in, and I know where my target's going to be up at that 42. It's Obi today. Well, you'll see him a lot tomorrow as well, and then Sharif will be back next week. Obi and Joe as we'll enjoy garlic tilapia.
See you guys.
Yo, yo.
Welcome, everyone. And yes, this is the Midday Show. A lot going on this morning. But first and foremost, let's welcome everyone here into the chat. It is Thursday, and we're going to look to be having some fun today, as we always do. Well, let's get into some things. First, we're going to start with some roll call. We got Christmas saying, yo, it's Joe and Obi. We got Andrew Chow saying the exact same thing. Joey gets distracted, says, yo, boys, what's going on? Joey's vest not in the chat, but if I'm going to guess who's making multiple accounts, it's you. All right, I picked you up. See you at, all right, and see you later. Guys, what up, beautiful people? Midday team, says Johnny Fishbone. Party time, says Frank Trades. Who else do we got? Boosted. Red Sport, what's going on? A lot going on in the chat. Jay Walken, Alan, Andrew Chow once again, Blackhawk, yo, Nerd Affiliated, get that money, and a couple more here. We got Ian Ganther, Juan Padilla, and who else do we got? The Marines. What's up? I haven't seen Mike Peter Ryder in the chat today. Looks like he might be taking this one off, but that's all right, guys. Without Mike P, we're gonna miss him, but we still got a show. All right, let's see what we got going on too. We're gonna start it off with Obi here today because he's put on some pretty good ones he was telling me not too long ago, and then we'll get into what I was trading as well. A couple good positions. Obi, talk to us.
Yo, what's happening, everybody? I'm just pulling up the chat here so I can see what you guys are saying real quick. But yeah, no, this morning was pretty crazy. Volatility is definitely back, and yeah, no, just a joke in the pod was like, hey, trading's back, guys, because there were so many crazy runners off of the open. It was absolutely beautiful. So let's go over some of the trades that I did have this morning. Didn't take anything too crazy. Wasn't really expecting any sort of crazy moves, but maybe flip game strong. I don't know. So went long and short on APLD. The only thing is, did not hold this APLD all the way to 35s. That was my issue there. I think where I'm getting out here in this consolidation around 34s, just underneath 34s, like I should be taking some more on the break back through here at 34. When it finally goes, it's kind of very similar trade. It came in pretty hard to the downside, swipes to the bottom, and then swipes right back up. And I was like, not without me, you don't. Punching the opening range high, and then punching some more for the continuation through 33s. And then, yeah, just kind of letting it go into 34, the first level of a bit of resistance. But again, that's just the first one, man. Come on. I don't revert the first pullbacks. Why should I be selling anything from my long? I should be looking for a potential continuation, but it did move real fast. So I was like, all right, cool. That's interesting. Comes up all the way to 35s and then pulls all the way back in. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm taking that reversion for sure. Pulls back in, back through 34 halves, right into VWAP. Maybe some ads right here underneath VWAP. I don't think you can really see my arrow too well, but it's right there. And then there's another one right here as well. It's the same red as the candle. But yeah, a little bit of a shake and bake happening on APLD, but there was a lot of runners. APLD was not the only one. We saw, I think SoFi was good. There was Serve that was pretty good as well. And at the same time, IWM small to mid caps running here for a good chunk of the day. You can see we almost got to a high of 258. What else did I take? It seems like APLD has just been kind of consolidating, but it was great trading off of the open there. And just that's the kind of momentum that I really love to participate in. Another name that I do have eyes on, man, is SanDisk. SanDisk is just getting shellacked to the downside right here. So let's see if we can nail this one to the upside if the reversion does come in, but we'll wait. We'll have to wait and see there. The other name that I took was NVDA. Traded a bit of the market there, and I was like, yeah, I want the reversion on this one. So when I did observe a little bit of a bid coming in, got long on the back through 185s, take it a VWAP. Thank you. Come again. Where's the next trade? That's what I'm looking for right now. But let me know what you guys have been trading and what you guys have been up to. This market, a little bit of a sell-off off of the open, but take a look at the distinct difference between the Nasdaq and the ES here. A little bit disconnected. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Right on.
How's your morning been?
I mean, it's not bad, man. We'll
I
take
see
it.
you were involved
positive.
in the APLDs.
Yeah, we were in APLD. We're in ONDS as well. Those were the only two names that I've traded this morning. Someone says, Jesse I6 Joe says, NVIDIA paying my rent. That's good. We like that. We like the rent being paid, obviously. You don't want to get that notice on the door, so allow some of these stonks to pay that. All right, yeah, I mean, as for Obi, I think you traded a little bit, much better than I did, I should say. We got a nice little move in it. I was involved in the pre-market, and then we get that move up higher. And I went full size as well, too. But you can see I'm in at 31, approximately 31.17, and then we take that move up to 31.17, and then as the open comes in, I'm like, oh no, boom, comes against me, I go break even, and then sure enough, you get that 5-point banger. So making this look, as I said in the chat earlier, tripping over dollars to collect some pennies right there, and nice move. But that's what if history, and we're not going to go about that. We executed on this trade. I was working on some hockeys, considering we were talking about it. I'm like, you know what, Obi's onto something. Let's switch that up. And Neo kind of gave me the weird look as well. So I'm like, hey, I mean, for years and years, I had no issue with that, but there's nothing wrong with continuously growing and adapting. I think that's the narrative of things, and I like to play. Everything's just right here, pop, 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 and then we get everything rocking and rolling there. But I'll be honest, so what I used to use, everything was right there. I could use buttons. I had a montage, so montage being my level 2, it all had buttons. So I could just click it, it'd be sell X amount, it would be buy X amount, and I just click the button, boom, automatically in that position. We do not have that feature here. So, anyways, moving on. APLD, looking pretty good. Not bad. But then we had ONDS. Yes, that's correct. I don't even know the name of this company. Oh, Ondas Holdings, Inc. This was going to be our second trade of the day here, guys. Forming this consolidation, strong opening drive, just like APLD. And then sure enough, I'm like, ooh, I'm starting to see some buying pressure in there. I did only have half amount of the size that I had in APLD on ONDS, but that's okay. We executed relatively well. You can see we're at 1391s, and then we wait to that 1-to-1 ratio to start taking some off. Again, a small amount, 15-20%, and then boom, 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 boom. We get that move past the volume weighted average price in a strong move. ONDS up 13% right now, and then it gave me a re-engage opportunity. But I was slightly distracted, so I didn't take that, but there's plenty of more to come. Yeah, what's going on? What do you want to know about Eduardo? What do you want to know about APLD? It's just moving sideways right now, consolidation. Let's see which way this bull flag is going to potentially break. If you are thinking long, it's best to get in at the lower end of the range until the volume steps in. Just in case it does a liquidity grab, then you can have your risk to reward ratio significantly tighter. So if you ask me what I would do if I'm looking to trade this, I like what ONDS is doing right now. I'm not going to take it just yet because the volume is starting to stair-step down. So we'll be patient on that, but on multiple time frames, I'm seeing some indecision prints I like. All right, now back to APLD. So if you are thinking of a potential long on this, I would personally post up at the lower end of the range. Why? Because then you can be proven wrong like 50 cents from that point, opposed to trying to buy the breakout at 72s, and you're essentially not wrong until you break this. So you have to sit through all of this chop, and that is not fun. What's up, Edward? I appreciate that. So that's what we're looking for. And as for Black Panda, brother, We got the panther. Why would you want to be a panda when you can be a panther? You know what I mean? No, I'm only messing around, but your boy said telling me, hop on the old hymns. No, it's gone, man. We're shaving this bad boy off tonight. But other than that, man, looking for calls. Thank you, Joe. APLD. Oh, you want to see the calls on APLD? Yeah, let's take a look at some of the options activity here on APLD and see what we got going on. I'm going to assume that there's an increase, and obviously going to be an increase in implied volatility on this name. Yeah, oh yeah, whopping increase there, OB, 144% at the money IV on these 1 DTEs. Essentially, where you're going to find a lot of that zone, supply zone is up in this $36 level. We did climb up to $35, so that is another supply zone. We did reject that level. 35.42 was as high as we can go. Couldn't absorb all of it. We get the rejection, and now we're starting to just consolidate in and around those lows. So looking for some other quality opportunities. There goes ONDS. My guy Asino saying we have a super chat, $2. Hello, USAR. Is this a good entry or wait longer? All right. You want to take a look at USAR there, bro?
Sure, yeah. Let's take a look at you, sir.
Oh, man.
And thank you. Keep it leafy. In the chat for the super chat. Yeah, SNDK looking interesting here. A little overextended, solid sell bars, but let's go USAR first. I think this is a rare earth. Yeah, I remember this one. I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm not gonna, like I said yesterday, I'm not really here for buy or sell recommendations. I don't do that. We don't do that. That's not a thing. But I can take a look at I can take a look at the chart, and we can look at some support and resistance levels and go from there. But yeah, no buy or sell advice here. But I guess it's been bidding up decently for the past few days. A little bit of a pullback here for the past couple. A little bit of consolidation. Maybe we're chopping here in the opening range as of right now as well. Let's just go to a daily because I don't think the shorter time frames are really giving me much here. Wow, look at that. This was the hype in October, right? That was the hype that Rare Earth had, and we got all the way up to 43.98s on this thing. And look, it just came right back in to what a beautiful reversion, by the way. Swing short, yes, absolutely yes. 60% from October to November, I would definitely take some of that. But some of the swing shorts on the rare earths were quite nice. Again, when the hype goes away for some of these names that go fully parabolic and the volume dies off, like the backside is definitely there. Right? And if you have a broker that allows you to kind of get involved, I mean, even on the intraday basis, I think just looking for it every day to look for that backside I think is good, especially when the hype is pretty much dead. But it's holding $12 as a base right now. You can see it kind of held this same area before the run-up, before the buyers kind of came in, before the volume spike. Volume injection is what I like to call it. For the volume injection came in, and we got that breakout of this significant level. This was a level since, I guess, whenever this was. When is that? March of 2025, and then once again, August of 2025. A little bit of a double top, and that breakout, we're off to the races with some volume, coming right back into some of these areas, now holding that same area as a bit of resistance, right? So for me, I'm just like, unless and until it can get past this again with some oomph, I don't know. I don't know if I really want to get involved with it from an intraday perspective either. But yeah, maybe some shorting against resistance here intraday could be interesting to me. But you can see it's just in this range. So let's just point out what all the levels that I just kind of mentioned here. There's that. There's a little bit of a base here. I like this. And then there's also, put that back on. Okay, so there's also a little bit of a stacked confluence or stacked support right here as well. So this is a little older, this is fresher. So I'm gonna give this one some more precedent than the older one, but I do know that this is where that volume really started to build up for that push. And then we had that explosion back in. And then obviously as resistance, this area is still holding. So support, resistance, recent support, resistance. So that's all I have to point out here on USAR. And yeah, no, kind of going back to the keyboard speed that you were talking about. I went home and I looked up a video of the keyboard, like the game that I was talking about, Guns Online, and I found a video of this guy doing some key work of the game, and take a look at how fast this key work is right here. So just observe, if we can kind of just zoom into the keyboard here, that would be great. But
Make sure you got no volume on that bad boy too.
No, I think it'll be fine.
All right, no music in the background.
Yeah, no, it'll be fine. Take a look at that. Like that's how quick we had to move, and it's just like that kind of. Look how fast, all with the left hand, and the mouse is obviously kind of aiming and stuff like that. So this.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he was just running into a wall for a little bit there.
No, but that's the thing. That's how we climb. That's how you climb walls. That's how you broke the game mechanics. Well, it didn't really broke the game mechanics, but use game mechanics to your advantage, right? Because you can't run up the wall like that, but you can climb up the wall like that as well. Now imagine being a moving target in that scenario.
Yeah, you're not hitting. No one's hitting you.
This guy's like, oh, one of the styles was called butterflying. So it's like you literally were a butterfly in the air, and like good luck getting caught doing that. But yeah, exactly. So anyway, so that I went back and I looked that up, and I was like, those are the good days.
I stand no chance against those guys. If I had a controller, maybe a little bit of a different story, but no way on it. Yeah.
That's all it takes.
A little bit of practice.
Microsoft breaking down here a little bit. I was watching it earlier, MSFT. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at here. I should probably also participate at the same time.
Participation.
Okay, so let's pull up some softy here. I did get involved on this consolidation breakdown. We've been holding VWAP. Ideally, I just saw this. Ideally, if I see it holding VWAP, I should be shorting at VWAP. So again, I'm obviously kind of keeping that in mind when I'm taking the breakdown, this breakdown right here. But take a look at how clean this looks when we throw that VWAP on. And then maybe, again, we talk about support and resistance. This has been a little bit of support level, and we're kind of breaking that as of right now. Let's see if we get that continuation. The market's also starting to sell off a little bit here. But again, if we're talking about support and resistance, there's another support level right here from the open as well. That's where buyers step back in for the reversion to VWAP. So let's see if we make this into a little bit of a zone. That's sitting at, was that 476, 470, yeah, just 475, 83 is here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, sometimes you can get that sweaty, right?
Wow.
Dude, gaming can be very, very sweaty at times.
I don't know what video game you're playing.
The more you do it,
going.
it's the more, I guess, desensitized you get, the easier it becomes, and then you can just become like, stone cold at just running the keys like that. And some of these small caps, and even some of these mid caps, and some large caps as well. We saw the breaking news trade. Like, you had to be quick on that yesterday on the BX.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, it's just like it's going to leave you behind.
It's definitely going to leave you behind.
Yeah, you definitely have to be quick on the keys and have everything optimized for speed. For sure. But yeah, where's the next trade? That's what I'm looking for.
SoFi apparently. Yeah, SoFi. A lot of people going on in the chat. APLD. SoFi, so long.
Okay. All right. So we can take a look at SoFi. Sure. SoFi, a bit of a chop here on the day.
Oh, look at that. Is that what 3 minute? Look at that 3 minute inverted right there on volume. On volume, Obi. That's the short, my boy.
About it. People punch that breakout. Day high breakout, opening range breakout as well, and it fails right away. So you have players, you had volume probably that pushed into this, and then volume that pushed right back as well. You got to go to a shorter time frame to really figure that out. Yeah, look, on the break. So it's volume on the break, and guess what? Anybody and everybody who punched long is now 20 pennies out of the money there as it pulls back in. But you can see here, bigger picture on the day, we have been making higher lows into that high. So I don't expect it to be clean, but let's take a look at a higher time frame here on SoFi as well. So 15 minute, okay, all right, makes sense. Look at that. That not only is that opening range high, it's also prior day high. It's also this bid that took us all the way back up for a bit of a reversion at the end of the day on Tuesday after we had a strong sell-off on SoFi as well. So yeah, taking off some of those lines there. You can see here, just again, support and resistance. There's a bit of a resistance here, and the support has been stepping up day by day. So is today the day for the breakout? Maybe, perhaps, I mean, there's evidence of participants getting involved right here. You can see from this volume candle here as well that, yeah, participants definitely punching in on that high of day break. But let's see where it goes from here. I think that sometimes I think another gaming, I guess, parallel tends to be that chasers get punished. So I think chasing is fine, especially if you're managing risk properly. I do it all the time as well, but you also have to understand that more often than not, chasers do get punished, and it's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, that's SoFi for me. I'm not really getting involved in that one. APLD is still chopping around sideways. You can see here just chop, 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 chop. Bit of a range from 34 halves right there to 32 halves on APLD. I think the opening range break was the place to get involved. Here, yeah, sure, you can be getting involved with these legs, but at the same time, I don't think it's really, you know, it's nothing too crazy here. Not my cup of tea there. What's up, Adara?
Keep an eye here on this FACT. This is an acquisition corp. Apparently, looks like they might be acquiring, or not acquiring, merging here with Precision Aerospace and Defense Group. Apparently, this company's customers include SpaceX, Honeywell, Blue Origin, Boeing, GE, Lockheed Martin, and the U.S. Air Force. So a defense play potentially on watch here for this SPAC. FACT, if I get any more details beyond this speculation, I will keep you posted as we send you back over to Joby.
Nice little pop there in the TQQs. Yes, Gaurav, nice work, brother. We like that one. Now, as for the super chat, $2 right here, $1.99. Thoughts on government shutdown coming January 26th to 30th? I mean, how did the market react last time? Let's wait and see. You don't want to hold. Yeah, exactly. We don't want to get too heavily of a bias here before, if and when it happens. So be patient and wait for things to come into play. Now, as for APLD, guys, this is what I'm talking about. You really want to be cautious, and we talk about chasing and buying top ends of ranges when you're not breaking out. We're just forming this bull flag right now. But we are starting to form these higher lows and lower highs. You can see the price compression pattern starting to really form here. And if you get in at the lower end of the range, as I mentioned before, this is when you're really wrong. And you are fortunate enough to be involved with the breakout. You want to see that volume start to kick in, punch through some of these prior resistance zones and these trend lines. And then sure enough, you could be off to the races. And what I want to do is just correlate that with the daily, right? So what are we doing? We opened up at the top end of the range. We break through this previous pivot high. So if you ask me, this is relatively bullish. I've been talking about APLD for quite some time. This thing has been absolutely phenomenal as of late, and I think it's going to continue to perform exactly like that. So it's not going to be one of my picks or anything along those lines. My picks are going to be JPM, CrowdStrike. If we're only going with 3, then I have to be smart about it. I mean, I had Meta, Apple, and Tesla last year, so extremely tech heavy. Should I sway away from that? Maybe, possibly. I think if anything, I'm going to roll over Tesla. It has probably the most, I mean, live and die by the sword, right? A lot of volatility, but also a great, I think there's a solid potential for some big-time returns, especially with the growing AV space and segment within Tesla itself. So I might roll that over. CrowdStrike, JPM, and Tesla are going to be my top 3. If we are going with 5, Rich Tech Robotics is going to be my lottery ticket. Haven't looked at that name here today. What's RR up to? Bang, up to $3.72. Oh man, a nice indecision print on the 5-minute right around these lows here. A bounce off of that, and now breaking through some of these intraday highs, guys, putting in a new HOD. A pretty good look there on Rich Tech Robotics. And there goes Uber as well. Uber starting to climb a little bit higher, and it looks like APLD wants to break through this top end of the range there, guys, so keep an eye out on this one. If the volume starts to increase, you can see that starting with the lower time frames, and sure enough, we're at the top end of the range right now, so maybe you're going to get a continuation in strength. Yesterday, not the strongest session. Again, a couple of flat days, so I wouldn't be surprised if we can get the ball rolling here on APLD. Hold on, wait, is that going to email? Yeah, so this is kind of flat here aside from this. I mean, then you gap up, you come right back into the range. You do move a little bit on this day, but nothing substantial compared to what we're seeing here on today's intraday session. So APLDs, who says that Alpha or Alpha says adding on APLD? Okay, we like that. Gorev, we have the TQ starting to come back in a little bit. My eyes are on SLV as always, as of late, continuing to climb a little bit higher. Adara, what do you have?
KR and Watcher, this is Baker Hughes. Josh Brown of Ritholtz calling this one a long idea, saying it's, quote, one of the best energy names in their best stocks list. Back to you.
Right arm, right arm.
He's pumping stocks, man.
Yeah. I mean, if you have that type of power, why not? Like, get in a couple months before, come on CNBC, say you like it, boom, pump it, start selling. Yeah, exactly. If only, would you abuse that type of power, Obi? Let me ask you this.
No one man should have all that power.
Oh. Okay. So no. So, but I don't know though. I don't know. Like, can you look the camera dead in his face and say that you wouldn't do that?
Absolutely not.
You wouldn't do that?
I would not do that.
Okay, all right. I'm like, I mean, if I had that power, why wouldn't I do that, to be honest with you? This is a game that shows no love. So you're going to...
I get that, but again, that's just like, you know, if... I don't know. I just think it's... I think it's a little dirty, but like, whatever. I understand that games are played, but I find more, I guess you know, everyone has there are different pleasures, but I find pleasure in gaming the game as well, in a sense, being like I want to play the game, but maybe if your definition of playing the game is you know, pumping those stocks,
pump it, man, pump it louder, man.
I do not condone any of that
behavior. So I think a lot of people are agreeing with me here on that one. So Joe Head and Shoulders 15-minute on SPY. I haven't even looked at the SPY today. Let's take a look. If it's on the 15, should be able to see it on the 5. No, I don't see anything along those lines just yet. A lot of sideways chop. Let's head back over to the TQQs, as that's now bouncing once again off of that support level low. APLD breaking out, the volume really starting supported here now, guys. So this is what I'm talking about. We'll head over to the lower time frame, and you can see the increase on the 1-minute interval here. Boom. This is what boom, you're at the top end of the range. Even though you're printing this inverted hammer candle right now on the 1 minute, look at the increase in volume. As you're at the top end of the range, this is what you want to look for at a breakout. And look at the tape. Oh, this is ONDS. Sorry, never mind. ONDS tape. But as for APLD, this is looking really good. If you ask me, I'd look to get involved. But imagine what I was saying earlier is that you have your risk to reward ratio at the lower end of the range, and you're fortunate enough to catch a 1.5-point move like that. So I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities throughout the day here. Obi's had a pretty good one. I've had a half-decent start. We always want to try to improve. Yesterday, I got slaughtered on INTC and Amazon at the end of the day, and we're just not going to repeat that. We're going to stick to names that I think are definitely in play and try to avoid some of those mega cap tech stocks. Adara, what do you have?
Some kind of spiking action here on FNMA. We have Bill Pulte, leader of the FHFA, the Federal Housing Authority, basically. He's saying here on CNBC that, quote, we have tools at Fannie and Freddie on Trump's housing order. Now, Trump's housing order refers to this post that President Trump shared on Truth Social yesterday, saying that he'd like to impose a ban on large institutions purchasing single-family homes. This led to a big move, not only in Blackstone, an example of a large institution, but we also had moves here in Open Door, Lennar, KB Homes, TOL, et cetera. So again, FNMA on the move after Bill Pulte saying that they have tools at Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae here with regards to that housing order. Back to you.
Right on. Thank you very much for that. Adara, 2 super chats. Pop them up there at Cicino. Let's see what we got going on here as APLD is starting to come back in, reporting earnings yesterday after the bell. I haven't gone over those yet because I didn't want to hold any form of a bias when I was trading it, but we will get into that later on today. Thoughts on, we did that one, Assassino. We went over that one. Again, we're going to wait for that. We'll pop up that second one there by John Baker. Sometimes moves like this are going to be your best ones. I bought into BKR earlier just because of its name, Baker Hughes. Bang. All right. Shout out John Baker. Also not gloating, but called cost the other day. Cheers, y'all. All right, let's pull up Costco and see what COST is up to. See if we were going to do...
Great deals there.
Pardon me? Great deals. Do you shop at Costco?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. All right. I don't think I've ever shopped at Costco, to be honest with you. I don't have that family. Oh, this is what we were talking about here, guys. What a move, right? We had this drawn out from before. You now have that trend line break, big time move in Costco. If I was going to pick something, it would be this. If we were doing 5 picks for ours, it's going to be Walmart. Walmart coming in at number 4. So I'd go CrowdStrike, JPM, Tesla, Rich Tech Robotics for the lottery ticket, and Walmart. Walmart. Yes, I like Walmart a lot. I think it has the potential. I'm not expecting it. You're not going to get any substantial returns, but it's just a nice steady grind to the top side in this one. If you're fortunate enough to get like 10, 15% out of it, which I think is pretty substantial, but that's what I'm going to be looking at there is WMTOB.
Yes, sir. So the market's pulling back in here. Let's see if we can break back below 25,600 here on the good old DAC, the Nasdaq, right there. Watching the ES as well. Again, I mentioned earlier a little bit of a disconnect. When we saw that yesterday as well, there's quite a bit of a discrepancy between how both of them performed and how both of them moved. That's the ES and the Nasdaq. And today we're kind of seeing the same here. Some strong sell pressure here on the Nasdaq. So let's see who's really kind of holding this up. Yesterday it was kind of NVIDIA holding its own. Tesla with a bid on the day today. So I guess it's Tesla. It's Tesla's party today. And we'll take a look at Meta as well because I'm not really watching that one. But yeah, a little bit of a bid here. 424 is holding pretty well. 435's high a day here on Tesla. Let's take a quick look at Meta as well. Meta, okay, we did have that sell coming in, but the bid brought us all the way back to pre-market lows, and we're catching a little bit of resistance there as well. We'll be right back from Adara with some news and Crypto Watch.
Bill Pulte is still talking here about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, FNMA trying to take out pre-market highs here, as we do have Pulte saying that he expects U.S. President Donald Trump to make a decision here on the IPO of Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae within the next month. So again, Pulte saying that probably within the next month or so, we'll find out about a potential IPO for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac from President Trump himself. Then we have DKNG and PENN. These are also on watch here. Apparently, New York lawmakers introducing a bill that would ban prediction market sports contracts here on individual sporting events or player performances. Here's DKNG and here's PENN. Now, why these are significant is because if these games have less competition from these prediction markets here in the sports betting space, likely a good look here for these traditional gambling plays. Before we go back to the guys, I do want to do a really quick crypto update. Here is BTC. We'll pull it up here on the daily chart if I can. Here we go. So Bitcoin on the daily actually making a decent trend here with these, still making these higher lows on the daily. We had that, I guess, most recent significant drop here, November 21st, Friday, 2025, then make a low here, December 1st, around that 83 level, slightly higher low, mid-December around 84. Then we get this base here around that 86,000 that we had for the back half of December 25. And now today here, our most recent low, January 8th, this low here around 89,000. Right now, you're back above 90,000. Let's see if it stays. This is our second, I guess now third straight red day here for the BTC. But again, this daily chart and with this resistance here on watch here at 94, almost 95s, could be potentially a level for BTC to break out of, guys. Back to you.
Stuff. OBSC, you're short Microsoft. Gorva, I was going to tell you AMD 5-minute. Here's an additional print here on the TQQs. But one thing to note here is that, boom, we're getting these continuous lower highs. This could be a bounce because this is a solid volume print right here on the 1-minute time frame there, brother.
Yes, sir. So yeah, Softy coming in again. I'm looking at the same thing here on the Nasdaq. Let's see how we'll look at some different time frames here on Softy and see how that's faring. Now again, I'm not expecting it to break right away, right? It's not Meta, MSFT here. You can see we've been kind of bouncing with lower highs here for a potential build into that 477. We did come in and hit that 477. 477.01 is that little clip there. I did say, chasers get punished. I knew exactly what I was doing a little bit there. And I was like, yeah, if this goes against me, I got to give it all the way back up to here as well. So size accordingly, obviously. And then when it does come back up there and sellers step back in, I'm like, all right, cool. I can kind of start getting in some more here and pull back in. And then you know what? This can continue continue to kind of go down, right? This is a little bit of a trend here. Yeah, okay, we did point those out a little bit earlier. Where's that VWAP as well? There's that acceleration to the downside. Let's see if we can crack that 477. I have no idea, but the market coming in as well at the same time, definitely that tailwind is going to help me out a little bit here. But we're still stuck in this range, right? We attempted to push this range. We basically false broke this range as well, and then now we're coming right back in. So yeah, a little bit of weakness being shown here by Softy on the day as we hold as we hold that VWAP. And prior day as well, this kind of gives me some good confluence. It's just like we bid up pretty aggressively, and then we sold off pretty decently back down, and guess what? We're breaking that prior day low here. That's that 478, and then pre-market highs as well. So we did get a bid coming into the beginning of the week here from, what is that, 469s all the way to 479s, and then Monday a little bit of a chop zone here. So let's see if we can get into some of these 476s. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so there goes the 477 while I'm where I'm talking and not even looking at the book there. So I had some size ready to punch, but well, you know what? It's okay. It's not really moving that fast. So I'm just going to kind of be a little patient here and watch what it does. This could just be another kind of bid. Again, but this was support here. Now we're kind of cracking through that 77. This is the secondary support here at 476s, and that's the day lows as well, right? So that's where buyers kind of stepped in. So
the time frame is that the one?
This is a 3 minute.
Oh, what's the 1 minute saying? Is the volume starting to pick up there?
I mean, yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. As a break, yeah, you see a break there.
I did
Yeah.
notice that. So yeah, it makes sense. Like if I wasn't talking and if I was staring the tape down, I would definitely throw some volume down into that break. Nothing too crazy, right? I don't want to mess up or crack my average there. There goes the 256, 225, 600 on the Nasdaq right there. So that's the confluence that I was looking for there.
Okay.
And confluence is your friend, my
I'm
friend. So yeah, exactly. So. You know, it's just sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but the market weakness is definitely a little bit here on the day today. So, you know what, I'm going to start, what did I just do? Times MSFT. Muscle memory, sometimes I type in, I just typed in meta, so I just typed in, meta again on the thing
instead of MSFT.
Yeah, instead of MSFT. So I'll take some off there. That was my chase right there. So I want to take off some of my chase and then deal with this. So now you can see the chase is gone and my average is that of what I had up here. Let's see if that continues a little bit there to the downside. And I understand, like right here, when I'm looking at the Nasdaq, this is where buyers kind of stepped in. Seller dominance on the day, yes. Seller dominance on the day, yes, here as well on Softy. But 476 is what I'm looking for. I don't know if it's going to come in. Again, it's been choppy, right? It's bounce, lower highs into a flat bottom break. Shout out to Sharif. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for here. Let's see if it'll have us. If not, that's perfectly fine as well. Where is the next trade is the question that I will be asking here. So post it off a little bit more there. Let's see, there you go, get filled. And then if we get through those 476s, then maybe I can take some more volume there. But again, 477s, this is where I really wanted some. And if it didn't continue right away, I would have been more than fine with that. But it is what it is. Sometimes you just got to trade with what you have. And we talked about this yesterday. It doesn't matter. All that matters is decisions. Decisions. There are so many. Yeah, some of them are great. Some of them are not so great.
Not so great.
And I was reading this thing yesterday where it's just like even some of the best investors of all time, they're only going to be right just in and around just above 50% of the time, right? So it doesn't matter who you're reading about, even the greats. They're relatively right, maybe 50 to 60%, in between 50 to 60% of the time. So you ask the question, how do they become so profitable? That's the question I'm asking as well, right? I'm definitely not there yet, but that is the vision. So how do you become profitable when you're only right 50 to 60% of the time? Well, it's risk management.
Yeah.
It's decision making as well. Like we talk about this, when you're right, are you really pushing in? Are you getting aggressive when you're right? And when you're wrong, are you keeping it tight and staying nimble?
You definitely want to be at the right place at the wrong. I mean, you want to be at the right place at the right time for sure. And with that comes practice. and everything along those lines.
Like I say these things not because I can do them. I'm trying to manifest them by saying it out into the world. Right?
Put it out,
These
put it
are
on
skills
here.
that I still need to acquire. I do not have them, not even close to where I want to be in terms of that. But when I say these things, I'm like, these are the goals.
Are you taking the right steps to get there?
I think so, for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
All right, then
definitely.
that's all that
growth
matters.
is definitely there, and I think just that concept of 1% every day, I think will definitely take me there. But sometimes I do feel like a little bit of urgency is also required.
Why? Because time's ticking?
Myself. I mean, no, it's just like it takes a long time to get to some of those goalposts, and it's just like the faster we can get there, the better. The
better.
Right? So.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Yeah, Machiavelli, 67% of the time it works all the time, right? So, do you know what that's from, Obi?
I think that's from
Anchorman. Anchorman. Yeah, 67% of the time it works all the time. So, ow, okay, my knee. Yeah, Adara, what do you got going on? Let's get into some other tickers as soon as we get back from Adara.
New York Times reporting here on AAPL suggesting that John Turnus, who is a low profile, but apparently influential executive here at AAPL, he could be next in line to replace CEO Tim Cook should Tim Cook step down. So again, apparently John Turnus could be next in line here for the Apple CEO position. For what it's worth, this is not the first time that I've heard John Turnus's name thrown around in this CEO question, but either way here, AAPL pushing higher on this news. Again, low profile but influential Apple exec John Turnus could be the new CEO of AAPL should Tim Cook step down. Big caveat there. It's not like he's retiring right away. Back to you.
Yeah, let's pull up what AAPL is up to right now. Silver starting to climb back higher. I mean, it had 3 gap down days, and then sure enough, each single one of those days turned green, right? So here it is on SLV. Boom. Gap down a little bit, you open here, you almost close it, so maybe not closing completely green, but at the end of the day, even if you're moving lower, you're putting in some green sessions right there on SLV. APLD is still hovering around this consolidation zone on the top end of this trend line here, so you're on the backside of that, and there is ONDS not doing too much. I'm going to suspect that thing is going to cool down relatively quickly. Oh, that's what we were going to do, hop into AAPL. Let's send this over AAPL and see what we got cooking. Yeah, heading towards the top end of the range. Now noted, let's head over to the lower time frames to see if the volume is really starting to pick up. And I don't see it, guys. Like, this is just, I guess, like modest volume, if you ask me, relatively speaking. You want to see that start to slowly pick up. It is some of the largest prints on the 1 minute time frame in the past hour or so. So keep that in mind. But we want to see that increase as we punch through resistance zones. Now, what else are we going to be looking at? I'm just running through my scans right now, guys, to see if there's any quality opportunities here. The Nasdaq could be somewhat attractive at some key support levels. You're getting that bounce, and Apple help leading the way to the top side here in the overall market. Why can't I want to move this. What the heck, Helly? Oh, okay, there we go. We'll just do this here.
Apple's really going.
Yeah, Apple's really starting to go now. Volume starting to step in there, OB. On the lower time frames is exactly what you want to look for, a range break there in AAPL. That's going to help drag the TQs higher, and you can see nice indecision print, and now we're starting to head right back towards the top end of the range. Let's see how we react around this specific zone. Gorv, hopefully you're still involved with that, and you didn't get out at the crack of the lower end. So SoFi, ADR, RR, and Mara, it seems like those are going to be your 4 picks, Commodity Kings. Hey, Joe, your lovely stock QQQ seems to be moving. Hey, man, I like trading much other things. I was trying to avoid the Nasdaq just due to it being extremely mega cap heavy and look for some other things. For me personally, it's just like so many factors come into play when you are trading the TQs. You have to switch everything over to the Mag 7 because they're so heavily weighted. And I just like, hey, I want to look for some other things outside that aren't necessarily so crowded. Even though we have APLD, there is a catalyst behind it, reporting earnings yesterday after the bell. And then ONDS was looking really attractive in the pre-market as well, just due to the fact that it was forming a bull flag. It came up on my scan, but it seems that it may have been removed from it with oh no, it's at the top of the list with 83.4 million shares traded in the intraday session here, guys. But this is what really caught my eye earlier this morning was, hey, strong pre-market move. And then sure enough, we were forming that bull flag. But that nice pullback, right? Not too aggressive. You have levels holding, and then sure enough, you get that strong reaction right out of the gate, out of the opening auction, pushing price all the way up to $15.06 from a low of around $13.11. So a couple points right there for you, pretty quick in that specific name. Now, as for Apple, continuing its grind higher, Obi, help dragging the overall market higher. SoFi going as well. I know a lot of people talking about that. Make sure you guys get those dollar signs in. We're going to be going over some of the tickers that you guys select. I'm thinking, I heard Sean say this morning that, hey, how are we going to figure out which names we're going to pick for the Trader TV community? Well, I think it should probably be the top 4, top 5 that are on the selection list, right? When we go through the rundown, our ticker upgrades. So let's see what we can get going up there. Yep, exactly. ONDS climbing a little bit higher as well, too, guys. So the momentum to the top side seems like it's slightly starting to uptick here as Apple heading into 258 and no signs of slowing down right now with 1 minute consolidation. And then sure enough, we're heading up into $258. That is going to put us past the opening high, that 5-minute opening high of 257.66, and looks like it wants to head towards that pre-market high in a matter of no time. So APLD looking good, SLV starting to come in a little bit. We're getting a rebound in the overall markets, and that is exactly what we want to see. Let's see if there's anything lagging as well around these lows so we can try to get the best price possible. BMNR, yeah, going up to $30. Whatever that thing may be doing. Google, how are you doing? Ooh, a nice 5-minute indecision print there, Gaurav, on Google, multiple on this pullback. I think this could be a good opportunity as well. Indecision right there, and then now you're starting to slowly grind a little bit higher, and you can see that right out of the gate, pre-market price action strong, but right out of the gate for the first half hour, 4 consecutive 20 minutes, I guess we can call it there, 4 consecutive 5-minute candles straight to the downside before you found any form of a bounce. And sure enough, now you have a print number 1, nice pop higher, print number 2, holding that zone, forming a new higher low, and then continuing to climb a little bit higher there, Obi.
Yes, sir. So I'm watching. So I got out of that softy because I'm just like, yeah, if the market's going to rip like this, and Apple again being one of the top constituents there, I think it goes NVIDIA, Microsoft, Apple now. I think we did take a look at the constituents there just a couple days ago. But yeah, no, if Apple's going to rip up like this, then yeah, I don't necessarily want to stay too involved in this MSFT, even though it's still kind of doing the same, where it's just like boom, 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 slow, gradual push here as well. But you can see, so softy, again, maybe I re-engage because this is coming into that downtrend, but we'll see. I'm just going to be patient and wait here if it pulls back in. But again, if Apple's going to pull up, then I do want to get out. It was just a scalp to begin with. Here, Apple was quite nice, especially if you had it early here. And I did look at it when Adara pointed it out, and I was just like, yeah, range break, and then that range break kept on continuing into a high of day break right there. So yeah, both good opportunities as it does not really look back from either of those points. A little bit of turbulence there on the high of day break, but I think that's a little expected. And then straight through some of this pre-market high consolidation. Let's see if we can get up to here. This was interesting. This in the pre-market was where that selling kind of started around 6:30. I'm going to mark that off as well as a little bit of potential significance here. Boom, boom, where's that at? Right there, 258.80. So maybe we're headed right up there. I guess I'll pin this one as well. This was that pre-market, not really, it's not the pre-market high, but it's the high that we made coming into the session as
Google
well.
Go,
So
man.
take a look at this.
Or Apple.
Yeah, man, Apple's straight beeline to the upside there. 258.80s is where that selling kind of started in. So maybe we are just doing a bigger picture reversion of that. This is what I'm saying here. Now, this is why I end up drawing so many lines on my charts here, but you can see maybe that came in, but if you really want to only measure after, or what do you call intraday session trend, so you can kind of go like that or that. There's a bunch of different lines you can probably draw. Arbitrary chart art, as one of you in the chat astutely put it a few months ago, and that phrase has stuck with me. It's all arbitrary, right? It's just things are areas. There's no such thing as like a specific level unless you actually see the confluence happen. But arbitrary chart art nonetheless, and straight line up. I want to see, is this too far, too fast? I understand it's a bit of a catalyst, but are we really going to pull back in, push all the way up, or am I going to take a little bit of a reversion? That's what I'm asking right now. So I do want to participate in a little bit of that. Let's see if Apple does a bit of a pullback here on that first little sell-off that we're getting, just back up into here. Let's see if it continues. I don't know if it's going to work out or not. Who knows? But I do want to participate a little bit here on the first sign of selling there. Actually, not the first. I think I did mention that the first sign of selling was that opening range high or day high break area, and this is the second one. So shout out to our boy Elliot. Sometimes there's three waves, so being in the second one, probabilities are a little different.
All right, right on. Yeah, so just running through the scan here, guys. Here's Marathon Digital heading towards the high of the day. A nice inverted hammer candle on the 1 minute. Let's head over to the lower time frame. Liquidity issues starting to fall in. Let's see if, a short on this wouldn't be horrible. I don't think at the high of the day. Risk profile relatively tight. You only have to give it about 10 cents. If you give it 10 cents to where it's currently trading, that's more than enough to prove that you're wrong. So you have to size up a little bit here in that specific trade. I like our chances on this. Maybe we should look to get a little bit involved. We have the 1 minute and the 5 minute time frame giving us a little bit of confirmation here. And that's exactly what we're looking for. So let's see if I have to order shorts for this bad boy. If not, if I do, the trade's probably already done. So let's see. Let's get involved here really quick. Oh, okay, bang. No, we don't have to order any shorts. All right, so we're short Marathon Digital at the highs, guys. We had another previous pivot high right there. I'm going to look to double this up just due to the value of the stock. So I'll get involved momentarily. If this really starts to work out for us and the market decides to come back in and Bitcoin decides to sell a little bit, then sure enough, we might be okay as Bitcoin is heading towards the high. A nice little move to the downside there in IBIT. So still sitting in, all right, there we go, Marathon. We're at 46s, a little bit more. Yeah, I'm going to have to add substantially more shares here. I don't want to just yet. I'll wait for a pullback and a retest. So what the game plan here is going to be, guys, on Marathon Digital is here. Let's head over to the 1 minute. A little bit of a breakdown. If we get a retest of 1042, come back, fail us to establish a new high, then what I'm going to do is just going to double up the size here and then look for that move a little bit lower. That would be an ideal price. Like, ooh, a nice little tank right there in Marathon. So, I mean, we could add a little bit more right now, but I don't want to chase it as we hit the bid at 1043. Let's see if there's going to be any strength stepping right back into MRA. Oh, wow. Apple giving up a big-time portion of that move. Who shorted it? Oh, you got that top. Let's go, Obi. As Obi is shorting all the way up here.
Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
That's the reality of trading. Sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. If everything worked all the time, it would be a significantly easier game, in my opinion. What do you think? It would be much easier, right?
I mean,
then you wouldn't have to Josh Brown pump, right? Like if you do,
I said this in the chat before. Like if you're pumping, that's probably just a skill issue, man.
I don't know, man.
But,
you think so?
I definitely think so.
I don't know, man. I think that's kind of like prestiging. Like if you have the ability to pump, you're probably up there in the ultimate prestige, in my opinion. I don't think there's any form of a.
But with great power comes great responsibility. As Obi said, like shout out to Power by Kanye West, but no one man should have all that power. It's the 21st century, doing something mean to it. Like, be respectful with your power, guys.
I think the beautiful thing is the market is kind of all-knowing. The market is, mother market. We call it mother market for a reason. And if you kind of mess around with the market, she will definitely put you in your place. That's all. That's what I've learned. And over time, that is what happens. Maybe it works once or twice. Who knows? Who cares? But I know for a fact that the market will put players in their place, especially for messing around like that, thinking they can move the market, right? What was that? What was that?
I was thinking when Spider-Man. Spider-Man with the game.
You told me about it. Rogue Trader. Yeah,
Rogue
exactly.
Trader.
Rogue Trader. Beautiful example of that. The guy, definitely, he got away with moving the market here and there, but eventually the market will put you in your place. And it's a great example, a great story of that, I guess, market mechanic, if you want to call it, there as well.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree. Like, I understand, yes, with great power comes great responsibility, but what you're trying to do is justify something that really doesn't care about what you're doing. So if you're trying to play if you're trying to be sympathetic in something that essentially could care if you had any form of money or not, it doesn't know if you're going to be trading today or tomorrow. It could care less. So why do you care essentially on what's going on? That's something that is made by machines and has no emotion. I'm not trying to.
There's so much emotion in the market, dude.
Of course there is, but it doesn't care.
Emotion.
It doesn't care about what you think or how you feel. So why are you trying to feel a certain way?
Because I respect myself. That's the difference.
Okay, so that's a different. I think that's a little bit different. If you're going to respect yourself, I get that. But at the end of the day, whether if you're right or wrong, it doesn't care.
No, of course, yeah, man. I mean, if we're going to talk from a business perspective, there's a lot of businesses out there which the government will not approve of, right? I think, but at the same time, you can say the market is the market, business is business. You can buy and sell whatever you want, right? And you can kind of do whatever you want, sure. But eventually, you know, the hammer does come down. But I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so you're getting on the karma. I can understand good and bad karma for sure. But anyway.
Yeah, there you go. Spit and spin. Actually, the algos are designed to exploit your feelings 100%. That's exactly what they do, right? It's just like when you sit here and you get frustrated and you get irritated, guess what? That's the algos on the other side that are programmed to work on human emotion. And maybe if you understand human emotion, maybe then you have a little bit of an edge as well, being like, all right, you understand how players work. You understand. You can literally sometimes feel the emotion in the tape, dude. And it's just like that can give you a perspective of what's going on in that landscape. But yeah, no, it's just that's just my opinion. It doesn't, like you said, it doesn't really matter. It really doesn't matter. But if I had that power, I wouldn't really use it that way. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, it's hypothetical, right?
That's fine. I don't need, like, people are saying, Joe, I don't trust you. I was like, yeah, that's fine. You don't have to at the end of the day. I'm gonna stay true to myself, and I'm being honest with you in the fact that the market doesn't care. So why should I care at the end of the day either? Right? I get it. Sometimes we do get frustrated, and you're going to eat those words. But at the end of the day, it's just a machine that could care less if you make money or lose money at the end of the day. Speaking of making money, we're going to head over to MARA and see what we got going on as we get a nice little move to the downside, $10.46. But starting to get that pullback in which I was talking about not too long ago, Obi. Let's see if we can fail to construct a new high, and then sure enough, let's see if we can get an additional add here. As it's coming back into our break even, actually, you can see it start to hit the ask, curl over, and then we add to this position substantially, and then maybe we can be fortunate enough to get a move lower. But it looks like the overall market is going to continue to grind a little bit higher.
Yeah. It does kind of look like that. And yeah, we got all the way down to 257.20s here on Apple on the pullback. Again, it just defined some support and resistance levels from earlier on in the session. And we did kind of crack below multiple levels there as well. So I'm kind of watching this here and seeing if we kind of take a bit of a turn. You can see the market as well. Nasdaq, ES is kind of clipping its highs as well. There's a bit of a wick shimmy dance happening there on the 15-minute on the Nasdaq as well. 2 minutes left on this candle to finish printing here. So the next level I have here potentially is 257.60s. We're there right now. And again, we'll see if this works out. If it doesn't, more than willing to move on to the next trade and see what that has in store for us. But sellers has definitely been in charge on the Nasdaq today. And with this bit of news, let's see if they can actually carry us forward. I think we're looking for a bit of a reversion on some of these names. But if Apple's going to come in and move a little too far too fast, I do want to get and stay involved at the same time as well with this name. So wait and see. What are you guys looking at? What is your next trade? APLD going, saying somebody in the chat. Let's take a quick look at APLD as well. Let's see. Wow. Yeah, this one was crazy off of the open, but yeah, a little bit of a push here of this this range. Maybe some. This is a very choppy range here as well. It's not really a clean range. Like Apple had a pretty clean range. High a day sitting at 35.50s here on APLD. Let's see if we can get all the way up to 35.50s. That's where I'll be interested in this one here. But yeah, a lot of great opportunities in this market off of the open, man. And since then, we've been kind of slow. We're kind of slowing down there, especially any sort of Nasdaq related names here. You can see just chop, 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 chop within this little bit of a bounce range that we made off of those earlier lows. So that's kind of what I have on watch. Let's see if we get any other intraday opportunities, man. Breaking news trades have been absolutely amazing as well. We saw how that kind of went yesterday. But right now, let's go to Dara and then Neil for Happening Now and your lesson of the day.
Hello, team. The market, in terms of what's happening with the market, I think we're maybe trying to push a little bit higher, but this is very much wedge action here on the Qs. We have slightly higher lows and slightly lower highs. In terms of economic data, by far, nothing that we got today is really going to compare to the excitement of NFP non-farm payrolls for the month of December at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. Then at 10 a.m. tomorrow, we're going to be getting University of Michigan consumer sentiment data. This partially because it has an inflation aspect to that print that has been considered a key number. I also want to talk to you guys about John Turnus. Now, Apple here reportedly, according to New York Times, considering John Turnus as a new CEO when Tim Cook eventually steps down. So there's not like there's any sense of urgency here. That's the vibe that I've gotten from this report. But looks like Cook does step down. John Turnus could be succeeding him as CEO, currently serving as SVP of hardware engineering and directly reporting to Tim Cook. I mentioned earlier that I believed we had previously heard reports that he could be the new CEO. The second I saw his face, I knew for sure that I had indeed heard these reports. So this is not necessarily new. We've already heard rumors of John Turnus maybe being the next successor, but looks like it's maybe a bit more set in stone now. Also here, potentially more set in stone, is an IPO for FNMA and FMCC, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, with Bill Pulte, leader of the FHFA, Federal Housing Authority, coming up here on a CNBC interview and saying that he thinks Trump might have a decision here on the IPOs of these names within the next month. Last but not least, CVX and oil in general here on watch. We know that we're apparently maybe going to be getting a meeting here with some of these oil company executives at the White House tomorrow, according to Caroline Leavitt, making some comments yesterday during her press conference. But also here with oil, we just had Goldman Sachs saying that apparently some investors that they're seeing are the most bearish in oil that they've been in 10 years. Now, before we send you over to an exciting lesson of the day with Neil, we're going to take a moment to thank our friends at Origenics. Concussions demand fast solutions. NYSE-listed Origenics, or OGEN, they're developing one designed to reach the brain quickly and in a non-invasive way. So what are you waiting for? Learn more and schedule a meeting today. But you don't have to schedule a lesson. It's going to happen right now. Neil?
Thanks, Dara. I feel like this is becoming like a regular thing where I'll be ready to eat my tilapia and then listening to the really quality conversation that was going on. Then suddenly, I just want to talk about something different for the lesson. Because that conversation between Joe and Obi, the market carrying, the market not carrying, I don't want to opine too much about it. I'm just going to give you a story of something very real that happened to me and then take it for what it's worth. Anybody that has been watching the show long enough probably has heard that I started out, my first paychecks, was a penny stock trader. And maybe not the sexiest thing in the world to go home and tell your parents. Like I said, when I was cashing checks, nobody, I only answered to myself, and what I was doing was making me money. I didn't care, and I was following the market rules and all that good stuff. There was something that happened, and I'm trying to remember the exact year, but I don't. Probably sometime around 2004, 2005, it was in that range, where the rise of essentially it's like E-Trade and Ameritrade, trade all you want for like a flat fee of $19.95 or $9.90, whatever it was. Like that was the idea, and it brought about an obvious opportunity for people to break the law and the rules and make money. And essentially what they were doing, and I'll try to explain it as fast as I can, and it's a little technical, it's not the point, but it'll make some sense in a second. If you trade right now on any stock, and I'll pick something that doesn't move very much, like say an open door, right? If I sit on the offer and add liquidity at $6.40, you can get paid $2 for every 1,000 shares. If you remove liquidity, you could pay $3 for every 1,000 shares. That's that little bit of a spread. What ended up happening with this E-Trade and Ameritrade was you weren't executing and that fee wasn't getting passed on. You were just paying a flat fee. So if you think about it, if order size was large enough on E-Trade or Ameritrade, then you could be paying, say, $10 flat, a flat fee, even if you were doing 100,000 shares, let's say. Right? So removing liquidity on 100,000 shares, paying $3 for every 1,000, you're paying $300. That's what the gateway charge would be. But over at E-Trade and Ameritrade, you're paying a flat fee of like, say, $19.95. So there was that opportunity that if someone broke the rules and had two separate accounts, one their private personal account and then their prop account, they could sit there and on their prop account, they could be losing gross, like losing 1/10 or 2/10 on a penny stock, but then making the rebate in both directions. So you're making 2/10 in, 2/10 out, losing gross of 3/10, and you were making 1/10 for every share you took. And then on the other side, that same account was just punching in and out on a flat fee and then not caring about the rebates. What effectively started happening was you had a bunch of stocks for a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, that were penny stocks that just would have maximum on the bid ask locked and crossed, while some yahoos were just going back and forth, hitting the bid in the ask, paying the flat fee, and the other side of their own account was just taking the rebates. Now, while that was happening, doing that was illegal, whomever was doing it. But if you were a trader like myself, I could sit there and just sit on the offer and the bid, and if that person ended up hitting me, I would then make the rebate too. And for those 2 weeks, I sat there and watched it for multiple days. Now, if I joined and decided liquidity, I wouldn't be breaking a single rule. I'd just be seeing something happen in the market, and I would be making the rebate, and I would just be getting paid all day long while it happened. And for a couple of days, I was like, this is ridiculous. Someone is breaking the law. I'm not going to do it, even though I wouldn't be doing anything wrong by taking the rebate. And about the 3rd or 4th day, I realized, you know what? I've reported this issue. We sent it up the chain saying, hey, look, this is what's happening on these stocks, and it's still happening. The market's done nothing about it. And I eventually said, this is silly. I'm just going to make the rebates. And I remember over the next couple, like week and a half, before they did something about it, just making thousands of dollars. I wasn't breaking the rules. Somebody else was. And I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to sit there and take advantage of it. And I was maybe, at the time, I'm like 25 years old, right? Now, there's no right or wrong answer there. Did I start too soon taking advantage of something I saw in the market that was morally wrong, but I wasn't breaking the rules? Did I make a mistake by doing it altogether? Ultimately, you've got to be able to decide. But you do have to make that decision when trading because it's the most regulated market and there's a bunch of things that are within the rules. And if you feel it's wrong to do it, even though it's within the rules, then make that be your choice. But I feel like you have to be definitive about it. There is right and wrong ultimately gets judged for most people. And I'm not going to get too deep here, but for most people, right and wrong gets judged at a higher level, right? I think we can all agree on that. But the market is super regulated, and there are lots of ways in which you can make money that aren't necessarily about, hey, who just buys low and sells high all the time. And to the extent that we see things like that, maybe you want to take advantage of it. Now, I'm not going to say that APLD was manipulated today. However, I've rarely seen this type of a pattern before, and when I did, it was always, oh man, somebody is literally like algo pushing this stock inside of a range. And I've seen that kind of trade before. And I remember at first being like, oh man, when stocks are doing this, someone's pushing. And pushing was just like literally manipulating the price action of the stock to get it to go up and down in a wide range, and then you're scalping inside of the range. Incredibly illegal to do. Yet when it does happen, do you want to take advantage of it? So you have to answer that question for yourself. I'm not here to tell you what to do. You got to be able to live with yourself. But that was a real life thing for me. And would I have made more money if I started doing it earlier, even though I wasn't breaking the rules? Answer, yes. But I sort of grappled with it for a couple of days and then eventually said, man, it's just happening in the market. I should, what, or get off the pot whether I wanted to make that money. And the side anecdote of that, eventually the market did notice that random penny stocks in the Nasdaq were leading in volume over like Microsoft and Cisco and all that stuff for multiple days, and they got rid of rebates. That was their solution. You no longer got a rebate on penny stocks. That got rid of the practice, but while they were waiting to react to it, penny stock traders were making absolute bank. Just jumping in when other people were breaking the law. You could just jump in and be a part of the party and you weren't doing anything wrong. So, make your own decisions out there. Ultimately, you have to have your own little bit of a code, and I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to it. But, Joe was right when he said the market doesn't care what you think or feel. It's impossible to be a robot because we are not. We are emotional beings, but at the end of the day, emotions are going to get the better of you. That said, it's not always a bad thing. So you have to be able to live with yourself at the end of the day. If you think that trading and pumping stocks is horribly wrong, well, there's nothing illegal about it in some regard. Like what Josh Brown does is not illegal. He's just simply saying, I like this stock, and I'm gonna, if I have the clout that it goes up after, great. I mean, Warren Buffett kind of has that too. Do we think it's right or wrong? That's up to you to decide. It's up for higher powers to decide. But good luck in your trade today. I know it's not very technical. Sorry about that, guys. But I thought that was kind of an anecdote that I thought might be interesting for everybody. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. APLD, just okay, I have to. I'm like obliged of myself to point this one out. So since breaking this little channel it's had, it's now got a very kind of distinct trend. I'm actually curious now that this trend is lining up with where they were selling it before to maybe play it first as a little bit of a bounce zone to try to get back to the high. Because that's a little tight to VWAP for a trend break. So I am looking at APLD for the first time today. Probably a mistake to have ignored that stock. Good luck, everybody. I usually tell you how the lunch has been, but I haven't cracked it. This is the gigantic piece of tilapia that they gave us, which you can tell I'm looking really forward to eating because I haven't even pulled the saran wrap off. See you guys.
Thank you very much, Neil. Yeah, absolutely great lesson there. The market doesn't care, man. I definitely 100% agree with that. But it is what it is. Market does not care at all about your average, about your position,
Nothing.
or about how you think and perceive the market. The market really is its own living, breathing creature, right? It really doesn't care. But it is a beast that we do have to tackle, right? It's a beast that we do have to fight.
Sometimes you got to play. I mean, again, like what Neil said, as long as you're within the rules, who cares if it's a little dirty, right?
Sure, yeah.
You're in the trenches, then sometimes it just got to be that way. I mean, and I like what he was talking about, like morals. And it's funny, I was thinking about this in my head. I'm not going to mention it, but we have some people that just throw that aside and who are making as much, if you get what I'm getting at here, who make as much as NBA players and high-level athletes, and we can say, hey, that's not morally right, but that's boo-hoo. They're going to cry about it in their Bentley or their Lambo. Who cares? They're not breaking the law or anything along those lines, if you get what I'm saying.
No, yeah. I get that, and that's fine. That's part of playing the game. I totally get that, but it's just, I'm just saying that I do think that pumping is slightly different. The thing is, Warren Buffett didn't get to where he got thinking that way, being like, oh, I'm going to talk about my stocks when they're going to go up.
No, not at all.
He did
100%
not
agree.
care about that.
100%
right?
agree.
Listen, you gotta really watch a lot of their AGMs, annual general meetings, to really understand how those guys thought. And Warren Buffett, absolutely one of the greats. Charlie Munger, definitely RIP, absolutely one of the greats as well. But yeah, a lot of the players that didn't get there thinking like that. That's all I'm going to say about that. But Apple, though, looking a little weak here with the market coming in as well. So let's see if that kind of breaks this bit of structure as well. Making some lower highs here into 257s. Let's see if we can get to 257s. VWAP is down at 256.80s here. So yeah, we did point out some levels here earlier. Again, support and resistances. Guess what? This one came in as a little bit of resistance. So that was the day high, right? And we did get some selling that came in off of that level, pretty aggressive. And we held underneath VWAP off of that selling that came in at the beginning of the day. So the question becomes, if it's going to respect again, what are the probabilities stacking like now? I have no idea, but let's wait and see what the market tells us and what the price action what kind of price action comes in. Here we go, right there, coming into the low teens there, 257s coming in. What is that level that I pointed out earlier? That's 257.02. So we're coming into into that level as well. Now this was resistance. So now let's see if this is a classic case of resistance turned into support here on AAPL. APL. So that's what I have on watch right now. Let's see if that comes into fruition on Apple. So yeah, a little bit of a pop there on Apple, off of that news catalyst. And I'm saying yesterday, news catalyst, great opportunities. Today, once again, news catalyst, great opportunities. It's, you know, sometimes this happens in the market where it's just like things are, you know, participants are just reacting to the news in distinct ways, and breaking news trades become very, very lucrative as well, I would say. So yeah, something to watch out for. When it's hot, it's hot. When it's not, you know, move on to something else as well. So that's what I have on watch here, Joe.
Right on. All right, we got another $5 super chat here, Obi. Can we crash the tilapia business? I'd buy puts with all my savings to make it happen. I can feel Neil's pain when he finds out it's tilapia. I mean, I don't think we can do that. The chances of us crashing the tilapia business are pretty low. There's an easy solution to that. Hype the lunch lady and say, hey, no more tilapia. That's what I did. And sure enough, boom, you don't get it. Yeah, just let her know, man. And she's more than willing to help you out. And that's all I did, man. It was just like, hey, I can't, no more of this stuff for me, please and thank you. Eat more chicken, says the real Gary F. Okay. I mean, nothing wrong with chicken or beef. We like those. Favorite fish, Obi?
I think I like halibut.
Halibut? Halibut's a good one. All right, salmon.
Whenever we say fish, I'm like fish and chips right away.
Fish and chips?
I like, there's a spot.
Which is typically halibut, right?
Yeah, it's most of the time it's halibut, but you know that the cod isn't too bad either. But yeah, they're all kind of different.
Yeah. Again, good stuff. Ocean, fish only, no freshwater fish. Fair enough. All right, guys, let's get right back into these markets and see what we got going on. We got to break even. I was telling Obi here, we got a little bit of a move down, so we took some off, nothing substantial, and then we put in a new high of the day right here. So I have to keep my eyes on what Bitcoin is up to, but Marathon Digital slowly starting to come back in. It is now past our entry price. Oh, okay, that's Bitcoin. So yeah, Bitcoin's starting to come in as well too. Let's head back out to Mara and see what we got going on. Mara, whatever you would like to call it. On the 5-minute time frame, nothing really. Trend line still holding up. So maybe one more retest and then we'll get involved. And you are not pumping the stock working hard, then you won't make money. We don't ride the wave. Nobody would trade the stock. Yeah, exactly. Tofu, no, I'm not really a big tofu guy either. So, but yeah, Lemons family, good point there, my friend. Let's see what we got going on. Obi, are you still in that Apple short?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, right.
Watching it here as we kind of hold that 257.
I think, yeah, I mean, the market's heading back a little bit higher. We can take a look at the TQQs here. So this was our downtrend line, and we're heading right into that resistance zone. Let's see how we react. Some nice indecision prints off of these lows, and let's see how this market's going to react to these names. Some of the bigger, obviously, market capitalization starting to climb higher. What has Amazon been up to the past couple of sessions? It's been relatively strong. Have things started to cool down here on Amazon? Not at all. We'll be back up to 245.33 and printing a new high of the day. Adair, what do you have for us?
What I have here is BKTT pushing higher. We do have Mike Alfred, who is on the company's board, posting just now on X in all caps. Really big things in the works. Hang tight. He's also been an open door investor, a couple other names that he's been involved in here, but BKTT he's actually on the board of. So I guess some people speculating that this post has something to do with BKTT. Not necessarily clear if that is the case. He also only posted it 2 minutes ago, and this move up clearly started before then. But yeah, just be aware here. BKKT on watch. If I get more details, I'll keep you posted. Back to you.
Oh, man. All right. See what Gabby Frigo said here, OB. I have almost liquidated in my position in the futures Bitcoin, and now I'm down just 5%. 85.5K was my liquidity grab there. LOL. I'm 30x leverage all in. I know. Nice. I mean, I don't know if that's nice, 30x leverage, but by all means, do what you have to do sometimes. Silver starting to come in a little bit here, 68.93, a big volume increase here on SLV. Look at that on the 1-minute time frame, OB. Indecision prints at the highs. Maybe a potential trade there for you, a reversion back to the volume weighted average price there in SLV.
Yeah, no, silver has been a great mover, man. Great vehicle for extracting opportunity from the market over the past few weeks. We've seen the crazy moves, man. And another one, like some of these chip names like Micron, or like some of the memory names like like Micron SNDK as well. Yesterday I was like, okay, my computer is running out of a little bit of space. I go to look for an SSD, and man, SSDs as well, just crazy prices, almost double of what they were just a few months ago. So GG's to that. I was just like, yeah, I should. I've been hesitating buying a new like a M.2 SSD for the past year or so, and I was just like, yeah, they always kind of go down. The hard drives always go down in price as they come out with better and better technologies as well. My mic just fell off, yeah, no. So that was kind of the perspective there, and I guess I didn't have the vision when it came to what was happening with all the data centers around the world. But yeah, no, it's some of these SSD prices are absolutely crazy as well. I mean, SanDisk, you see Western Digital as well. I have currently in my PC, I have a WD Black, which is, again, they said they're made for gaming. They're a little bit faster. But yeah, those things are absolutely crazy. Like $800 for a 2 terabyte. I was just like, oh my God, that's absolutely wild. And that's Canadian dollars, so that might be a little less in the.
How much you say for $800
for
a 2 terabyte?
WD Black, yeah. So that's for the SN850X for those of you who know what that is.
I bought when I first built when I got my PC, I think I got. It was like a couple $100 for 1 terabyte SSD or something like that. So nothing.
That's
nothing
how much.
crazy.
Like I initially bought just like a 500 gig one, and that cost me like I think it was like $90 or $100 or something like that. And I was like, I'll buy. And then the 1 terabytes were like $300-400 at the time, and I was like, okay, I'll just wait a little bit. I don't necessarily need all that space right now, but things are getting a little crowded. Let's just say that on my PC, as I wanted to download some games and play them, and one of my buddies wants to play Destiny 2 again. And Destiny 2, if you guys know, it's about 150 gigs, and I had to clean up some space, and I still didn't have enough room. But last night I started playing Hogwarts Legacy. I downloaded that. That was on sale for a bit. A big Harry Potter fan. I've been wanting to play that game for a long time, and I was just like, last night I was watching Blue Ocean move like molasses, and I was just like, okay, I'm kind of bored. I need something to distract me so I don't punch into noise. So I downloaded that. I played that for a little bit. I started playing it for like I got like an hour in. Pretty decent game, well made, beautiful aesthetics as well, and yeah, no, it's.
Are you Harry Potter, or do you have?
No, I'm my own character. I've named him Obi-Wan. So Obi-Wan is in Gryffindor, and currently we're learning some initial spells.
That's what Harry was in, though, was Gryffindor, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
no, but the thing is, the hat asks you questions, and based off of your replies, it puts you in a house. And I didn't know what, like I was just answering the questions, and it was like, oh, Gryffindor. I was like, I don't know. I was a little sketched. I was like, maybe they do that for most of the answers just because, people are kind of Gryffindor fans. But yeah, so yeah, exactly. No, yeah, Obi-Wan is I was just like, yeah, that's my IGN as well, but. No, I used to use a lot of different IGNs before. Growing up, I had.
I don't know. You're gonna have to fill me in.
In-game names.
Okay.
So IGN. So like, what's your gamer tag, basically?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I was like, I used to use Blackout, and then I don't know if you remember when names are taken, we used to add X's, X's and I's to the front and the back of the name. So sometimes I was like, XX,
dude, I knew you were gonna.
XX
I knew someone was gonna say that. There's no way I would be. There's no way. Someone said I would be Slytherin. No. I'm obviously Gryffindor, man. Come on, let's go. All right, guys, let's get this going here, Obi. PDS Biotechnology, Nasdaq PDSB, is transforming how the immune system targets and fights cancer, with initial focus on HPV-16 positive head and neck cancer. HPV-16 can cause head and neck cancer, and more people are facing these high-risk cancers than ever before. HPV-16 positive head and neck cancers are projected to become the most common type of head and neck cancer in the U.S. in a few years. Learn more at www.pdsbiotech.com. All right. Yeah, thank you there, Nelly. LOL. Much appreciated on that one. Oh, someone said I'd be Hufflepuff. That's all right. I would take anything. We don't want to be a part of the bad guys. That's for sure.
Hufflepuffs are pretty peaceful, man.
Yeah, they're peeved. The Ravenclaw is cool too. I like Ravenclaw. I think we're gonna put nice for putting that poll up there, guys. I think a lot of people. Let's see what the Slytherin crew are up to, but a lot of Gryffindor. Ravenclaw is pretty cool. I like those guys. A big Harry Potter fan myself.
Nice. What's your favorite movie?
Oh, that's a tough question, man.
You've read the books?
I think I read The Philosopher's Stone. I think that was probably the only one that I've ever read. And I don't know why I said I
stood in line
did
for the
read it.
third, fourth, and fifth. Like, no, the last three. So
Dude, have you seen the Harry Potter stores? I've seen one in Chicago. It's pretty sick.
No.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
pretty cool.
So this is a big thing for me and my siblings. Like we rewatch the series like every year.
Yeah.
These guys went to Wizarding World without me. I was just like, oh my God, how could you even do that? You know?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? That's a great question, Obi. I actually watched Inception the other day over the break. Yeah, great movie.
Beautiful movie.
So I said to my boys, in my theory, the whole thing, he's essentially dreaming the whole time.
Yeah, that's one of the theories.
Right.
One of
Like
the
the
theories
whole
exactly
thing
that.
he's a dream. And then
the top that spins at the end.
At the end, right? That's what gets you,
yeah,
right?
That's what gets you. That's
what gets you.
Again, beautiful story writing on that.
Yeah, you're right. Newer capital. We're definitely about to get active here momentarily, man. We're just looking for some things. Enough of that. Not enough. We'll get back into it. Shutter Island, a pretty good one. RKLB. Those are some solid movies.
Leo just has some amazing movies.
Yeah, crazy. And his new one is pretty good too. I know you're still short 257.04 there, Obi, on AAPL. That's holding up really well for you right now as it broke through that 225 level, which we were talking about not too long ago. Market's slowly starting to come back in. So is APLD. I'm going to switch off of Apple and head back to ONDS because that's been a pretty good one for us here today. A lot of sideways price action in ONDS and in APLD, so we'll keep our eyes on it and see if we can find anything else. The market, lots of sideways PA as well too. Don't forget eastward is a direction, and that's what seems to be the narrative in the Nasdaq.
Yes, sir. So yeah, Apple's coming into its VWAP, and that's kind of what I was looking for here. I have VWAP, if we want to get specific, at 256.85s. Let's see what it does. I already started kind of covering a little bit as we started to look like we're going to break into 257s. And I kind of pointed out earlier as well, I guess looking back at it, this could potentially be an ad if we kind of hold against this. I think this was an ad. Yeah, okay, I did make those decisions there. That's good. So holding a prior resistance level, that was the opening range high. Again, might hold a little bit more significance than some of the other support and resistance levels, but we're coming back into the top of this range that we made for, let's see for how long, about 2 hours there. So 2 hours we kind of held the top of that range, and then we broke out of it. And then, yeah, people definitely playing that break. They're getting clocked on the way back down. Stops are getting hit for sure. And then back through the open potentially as well. We saw a little bit of turbulence there, but kind of slicing through this 257 here as of right now as we pull right back in to the middle of the range. So let's see how much further we can go. The consolidation on the market is exactly the same as we left it when we first started, just kind of making a little bit of a flag to the downside. So kind of just watching that, keeping that in mind as well, and being a little proactive there. Wow, Softy comes up to 497s and pulling right back into the range. So shout out to my range traders, as there's been a lot of, especially when the market's kind of holding. It's not within its opening. I guess technically it's within its opening range, but this is what I'm looking at: lows, highs, and we're kind of just like compressing into that. So I mean, the banger trade here would be to get short at that 258s. And then hold for the range lows at 256s, but I don't know if those are going to come in. I don't know what's going to happen. But again, just the probabilities game as well, right? You can have something that has like a 80% probability of working, but don't forget at the same time that 20% still exists, and that can still take you out, even if you do everything that you're supposed to do, right? So you got to remember that as well. So that's just. Little probability snippet there for you guys. I'm just reminding myself as well at the same time. This is what I said. Most of the stuff I say out loud mainly because I'm just reminding myself, like, okay, this is kind of how my current perspective is, and now that perspective can change, right? It can change with new information. I'm always kind of learning, and that's the beautiful thing about the market. When you sit here, you watch and you wait and you have that patience, the market will teach you one way or another every single day, and I'm so thankful for having that opportunity here. But yeah, Apple back into VWAP. That reversion, I guess it worked out. It was pretty clean, I would say. We definitely helped to measure out some levels, be like, okay, these I think were significant levels from the pre-market session and coming into the open. I know I didn't draw out all of them. You could be like, okay, opening range low is still there. This consolidation low at 256 is still there. We did kind of clip it a couple of times, but that level really shows up when we start to hit it once, twice, 3 times here, and then catch a bid. So that's exactly, what is that low? 255.95. So I don't know if we're gonna get all the way down there. I'll keep a trail on to see if we can kind of hold below VWAP and maybe re-engage as well. That's another thing I'm trying to get better at. So it's just like re-engaging. It's just like the trade is on. The trade is the trade. I can take pieces off of whatever, but if it's still on, what are the moments and places that I can re-engage to stick with it and also kind of at the same time, risk appropriately, and that's always a little bit of a juggling game here as well. Where's the next trade? That's what I'm asking.
There you go.
Apple, coming back into this range, so I could do whatever here. NVIDIA, my friend. I did try to revert this earlier, and it was good, the reversion, but it didn't give us much other than VWAP. Now, VWAP, great place to sell off of the open, great place to sell around 10:30, great place to sell around 10:45. And then doesn't really come back up into VWAP, and we're starting to crack lows here as well. So the question becomes, are we going to get another test of this 25,600? Or when we come back in here, look at this wick action right here. This is a 15-minute chart. These wicks are a little bit higher than the previous one. So do we actually come back down all the way to some of these prior levels, or do we continue to compress on these futures? Those are the questions that I'm asking while I'm looking at some of this price action here, Joe.
Yeah, good stuff there. Speaking of re-engaging there, Obi, I hopped right back into some Marathon Digital short here. I actually added 50% more to what this initial size was. I'm out at 52. That's going to put us right at the high of the day. So let's see if we can get this trade to work out. We're starting to size accordingly here, and this is what we want to look for. As the market is relatively choppy and we're at the top end, we're at the lower end of the range, it would be more ideal. What I can do is also, if we do get a little bit of a move up regarding of how the price action is starting to form, I can add an additional 33% right here and then see how that takes us. If it decides to go now, then that's good. We'll take that all day, and then we're getting 44 print, considering I do have 50% more size. Let's see if that can start to print a little bit lower, and then sure enough, I think the target is going to be past this previous pivot. So what am I in for? 7 cents. We want to wait for at least a 1-to-1, so I guess that will put me in around 38. So let's see if we can diamond hand this and wait a little bit here. APLD is starting to form something, so I don't mind going long and short a couple of names either, considering APLD has been really, really nice to us throughout the intraday session. Same with you, Obi. Tell them to stop. What are they doing there? Just be trading. Stop what, my friend? Bro, you guys gotta stop saying Tesla flying. I'm not saying any. I don't know if Tesla's flying.
Tesla is flying.
Is it flying?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they make flying cars just yet.
It's gliding. I'll call it a glide. We'll call this a glide,
getting
maybe.
Charged
yeah,
up.
yeah. It's getting charged up for sure. We'll call this a glide. It's not
NVIDIA through day low.
It's not like going absolutely nuts or anything along those lines, but it is right around those $435 levels, testing the high of the day potentially here, guys. So keep an eye out on TSLA. I mean, it's had consecutive selling sessions. Let's see how many. Oh, okay, only 2, but prior to that, when we ran into that 449 level, out of the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 days, only 2 of them are being green, with 1 of them being here today. So not a good accuracy on that one there, Obi. If you've been going long on Tesla out of those days, it's been probably a relatively tough session. But nonetheless, we are still in this Marathon Digital short. Let's see if this can work out. The more ideal entry would be up here. I have no issues with re-engaging once again, as Obi and I were talking about that. If I do happen to get stopped out up here, let's see what price action does. And then sure enough, we'll just look to get in at the top end of the range. If Bitcoin really wants to start rocking and rolling today, I don't want to stand in front of that whatsoever. But Adara, what do you have for us?
What I have here is oil. XOM actually really strong, even though they lowered some of their guidance yesterday. But either way here, seeing more reports that apparently more than a dozen oil bosses are going to be attending this Trump-Venezuela meeting. Exxon, Chevron, and ConocoPhillips also set to attend this meeting. Unclear what the timing of this meeting is going to be. We know that yesterday we had White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt indicating there was going to be an oil-related meeting at the White House. Tomorrow, unclear if that's the same meeting, but either way here, XOM really strong. We'll take a look at CVX, which I believe was at day's highs. Yes, it is. So a lot of these oil plays at day's highs here as we send you back over to the midday show.
All right, so yeah, it does look like Bitcoin is relatively strong here today, Obi. So I have no issues with getting out of this. The trade worked once. I think we waited for a good opportunity to get involved once again. 52s were out of this one. No sweat whatsoever. You dock a small loss. APLD, ONDS, half decent for us here on today's session. So nothing wrong with that. 1052 would put you roughly around a new high of the day on MARA. And yeah, that's what we got going on. ONDS, I might go long here one more time as the market and both of those names are just kind of moving sideways right now.
Another thing that's trending to its highs is Amazon.
Silver,
Amazon
man.
is pushing as well. You're saying silver is going?
Yeah,
where's
right back
where's that
up.
silver chart there?
Right back.
Oh, yeah, straight up to the highs.
Yeah,
there.
right back towards the highs, man.
69.20s we're coming into. Nice. Okay, so yeah, NVIDIA kind of cracked that day low. We're pushing back below one. Okay, wow, I missed the 180. So 187, I did take inventory into 187 or into it, but I kind of understood that like this, or thought that this could be a little bit of an interesting level here, and it did end up being a little interesting as we just reject and then break that day low with that. Apple catching a little bit of a bid here in and around VWAP, so you know what, I'm just gonna get rid of the rest of these at the same time, so don't necessarily need to get stay involved in that one. That worked out, I guess, 58 40s all the way down to 56.80, so not too bad. Where's the next trade? That's what I'm asking right now. Amazon, let's pull up that one here. That's the one I'm talking about. And at the same time, like these are the levels I pointed out earlier. I gotta kind of see if we do hold distinctly below that. I'm more than willing to take a little bit of a re-engage if the market gets weak and we pull back right back down into some of those range lows. But again, sometimes I just, you know, you gotta take what she gives you sometimes, and that was a clean reversion back down into an area of interest from before, and things could continue to get choppy in and around here. So I'm gonna move on to the next one here. So Amazon, hello my old friend, Amazon here pulling up to the upside, breaking some fresh highs, looking distinctly different from that of the Nasdaq here, but ES is pushing its highs as well. So Amazon has been on a bit of a bender, man. This thing just straight up, back to back here, especially after Monday, Tuesday, we got that breakout 235. Wow, that feels like that was like last week. But 235 breakout, that came in yesterday as well with a little bit of a prior day high push, and we're coming in once again. So Amazon showing us some real strength here. Let's take a look at this higher time frame at the same time. So I'm gonna try to get rid of all of those indicators there and trend lines. You can see here, beautiful, beautiful hold of the trend since December of 23, right? Even the COVID, like this was the, where was the COVID drop here on this thing? I think this right here, yeah, that was the COVID drop on Amazon, guys. People thought the world was gonna end, and that's just a blip on the chart. And we've had some crazy years after that. Can you believe that was almost like 6-7 years ago?
Yeah, man. This year, March this year, 6 years.
Yeah.
6 years. All right, we caught another fill on Mara, but it looks like it's going to break out, guys. I'm taking a look at the daily, and if it does crack the high of the day, this is going to be a pretty bullish session. So I don't know how much to the downside we're going to actually get on this name. I did have that bid at 1050s. To see if we could just add a little bit more, considering this isn't the best area of entry. So now we're getting a little bit of a move to the downside, but as soon as we blow past that 1052, we're at a dodge there on Marathon Digital, and I don't think we're gonna try the short anymore until maybe later on in the session. So we will take somewhat of a hit if we do get stopped out. It looks like we're gonna be on that trajectory right now, considering the intraday. Once again, we'll pull that up here so you can see it. And just a strong day, right? Like, so we don't really want to mess around with that. And I was looking at Bitcoin as well to see, like, what is it up to? It's just essentially an inside session, if you ask me, right? Like, you have a gap down that's been filled, but it's just a strong day, relatively speaking, from $50 to 70 cents to almost $1 higher there. And I think that Marathon is going to be doing the exact same. So one more penny, we'll take the stop out. No worries about that. We'll mark a small L on that and still be nicely green here on the intraday session. As we print 51s, it's heading towards the HOD. We're up 4% on the day. I mean, risk to reward, not horrible considering I did add 33% more right there. But as soon as we tap into that, we're going to get out of dodge. I missed the ONDS here. I should have been a little bit quicker on the key. A nice indecision print that would have gave us a nice 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio on ONDS. But there's going to be plenty more opportunities throughout the day. So yeah, that's what we got going on. If we're wrong, then we'll go 1 for 2. We didn't make very much on this considering the break-even stop out. It was just the re-engagement. Should have been a little bit more patient on this, like obviously looking back, hindsight being. So you just write that down and you mark it and you learn from these mistakes. So Adira, what do you have for us?
Keep an eye here in this CRNC. This is Cerence. This name has rallied in the past. This is not its first time making this type of move. Not a ton of volume either. I just checked, around 350,000 shares traded on the day, but it does get a bit of an NVIDIA announcement. Apparently, NVIDIA accelerating its LLM and VLM inference for automotive and robotics here. I guess CRNC is tied up in that or related to this announcement. So with this headline, looks like CRNC is trading higher. Also, in about 20 minutes, we are set to hear from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt for the second day in a row. Also, she's going to be joined by J.D. Vance, Vice President of the U.S. If I get more details, I'll let you know. But again, that is supposed to start at 1 p.m. Back to you.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you very much for that, Adara. We got Bitcoin. What is that up to, heading towards the high of the day? So it seems to be the narrative that it wants to just continue its grind, which is totally fine. It's one of my largest, I tell you guys all the time, holdings in the long-term account. So we're not going to cry home about that whatsoever. The higher Bitcoin goes, the better. But ONDS, what an absolute beautiful print right off of these lows, holding support levels once again, and then continuing to slowly climb higher. So I got to get prepared to step out as soon as we hit the bid. Oh, we're at the ask right now. So I'm going to step out of this momentarily. We'll give back a bit of our day. Yeah, there it is. We're out of Marathon. We tried the short on multiple occasions. I think it's just going to be a nice steady grind to the top side. So we'll avoid Marathon to the short right now.
Yes, sir. So Neil kind of pointing out this name here. So thank you, Neil, for that. SoFi, big stick to the upside here. 2784 is kind of pulling right back in. And I'm also watching this weekly chart. A bit of an interesting level here on the weekly as we get back through open. So we had a little bit of a pop, a little bit of a drop, and this is panning out to be a little bit of a doji now. So the question becomes, are we going to continue past this opening price of the week? The opening price of the week is 27.81. We're currently trading at 27.84. So just in and around that area and kind of just magneting back up. We see that Tuesday, we had some aggressive selling here as well. This is the open of the week right here on Monday where we did catch that bid. So top wick, bottom wick, a little bit of a balance happening of that reversion back. 50% reversion, you can just give it a bit of an eyeball there. 50% reversion of Tuesday's price action there. So we'll continue to keep eyes on this one. We'll be right back from Adara.
CRML on another Greenland headline here. This was its headline yesterday. We heard the company announcing that they're going to be approving construction of their Greenland pilot plant. Now, the reason to bring this up now is because I am actually seeing reports, as we get a little spike here in CRML, that the U.S. is considering paying Greenlanders $10,000 to $100,000 a person to support, I guess, joining the U.S. So if we get more details, I'll let you know, but CRML is popping on this headline. Again, they do have that pilot plant in Greenland that's been approved. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adara. Yeah, that caramel's been real sweet over the past few days, back-to-back days where we just kind of bid up here Friday, Monday, you can see there as well. So the weekly's been looking nice. This thing's kind of been a little bit sideways and dead for a while. Let's take a look at the relative volume over the past few days. At the same time, you can see here, it kind of crumble. Is this a low from before. Let's go to the daily. Let's go to the daily and figure that out. Okay, yeah, this was a low here in November of 25, maybe some lows here from December, coming right back in, and then maybe some catalyst-driven push as we start to gap up 1, 2, 3. Day 3 gap up? Well, guess what? Did not sell off of that one there. So a little distinctly different this year, maybe. But interesting stuff here on the day. Yeah, this would be the day 3. We did get a little bit of a flush and then nice little squeeze action. Maybe this was catalyst driven as well. Maybe some news as well. But volume expansion through these day highs on Tuesday gives us leg consolidation. Now the question is, yes, leg off of the open, but a little bit of a bounce back below 15s. That 15 clip was nice. We were watching this in the pod as well. That 14 breakout, that was clean. That was so clean. You can see the volume as well. Great reasons to kind of slap that ask right there. Prior day came in at 1398, and yeah, it just does not look back, just straight into 15 there. Easy dollar on CRML. That was pretty clean, and then back down as well on a 15 failure to follow through on top of VWAP, and then breaks down through VWAP. Now just consolidating underneath that. 13.99 is where VWAP is sitting at as of right now. There was one more stock that I was going to look at here at the same time, and I'm forgetting which one that is. Oh, right. Yes. ACON off the open as well. This one, I did kind of ask for borrows here in the morning, looking for a bit of continuation, right? Kind of chop. It does come in to those highs there and then just slap that all on the floor was ACON all the way back down into 774. So back into the opening range lows there, and we've just been kind of chilling there on top of a low of 728. So this one was interesting there. I didn't quite get involved here. I guess it halted up, I guess, once and then kind of opened up below. Didn't really give us anything much after that. Nice little wick dance with the pre-market highs. And then, I don't know, I wasn't watching the tape, nor was I watching anything else, but kind of slams right back down with a halt down into 790s and then just kind of chopped sideways since then. So ACON might be one to watch out for going forward. But I don't know. I don't even know what these guys do here. Technology package software. Let's take a quick look at this summary here. Healthcare technology company engages in the provision of magnetic resonance spectroscopy and proprietary biomarker to optimize clinical treatments. Utilizes AI, of course. They're going to have AI in their description. Where are they from? That's what Broomfield CO. So I think that's Broomfield, Colorado, if I'm not mistaken, is where they're based off of. And yeah, came up on my scanner this morning because, Joe, this was doing 200,000 times relative volume
in the pre-market.
In the pre-market, so that can give you a perspective of how much volume it normally does.
And then does jack throughout the intraday pretty much? Oh, I guess
there
was I didn't see that.
There was definitely opportunities in the intraday there as well. So, but now the volume has pretty much died off. We're getting a little bit of a crumble here on ACON at the same time. So. Decent opportunities today, man.
Yeah, a lot of good opportunities. I'm looking at APLD right now. I like what I'm seeing here on the 5-minute time frame for a potential bounce off of support levels. Where's my risk at? Again, I like giving 10 cents. That's just kind of my base. Easier to do the math as well. You post up at those specific zones in which you like, and then you look for a potential move. So APLD, you see, that's why we get out when we're supposed to. If I held the amount of shares that I had right now up into where we're currently trading, I would have gave back the rest of my day. We take a hit on a Marathon Digital. We had one small win on it, and then sure enough, we try to get this move a little bit higher, but from a daily, just correlating multiple time frames together, it should be like, hey, is this truly a short or is it not? So, yeah, so that's what, oh, look at that pop there. There might be a big time pop there in Bitcoin, a nice move there in Marathon Digital. You're up 5%. But let's get involved in some APLD. Just because I like the risk measures. I could be totally wrong on this, but I have to take this opportunity. I'm not frustrated that we gave anything back, but we had a nice little bit there that we did give back on Mara. So it's just like, hey, where's that next opportunity? Because I did miss ONDS, which is unfortunate. So I'll keep an eye on this pullback here in APLD to see if it does break through this candle. this candle wick low. But Obi, what do you got for us?
All right, so savvy Canadian traders who are looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3X daily leveraged ETFs, featuring built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves, minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca before investing. All right, guys, so Apple kind of just chopping around. It's VWAP there. Kind of a little expected, right? We came back into a zone that showed us that this was straight chop, 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 chop. Guess what it does when it comes back in? The likelihood of chop, chop is good or is decent, and it's doing more of the same here. But holding VWAP, right? Maybe that's the continuation. Maybe the 257 is going to come in for a continuation. I have no idea. The market looks like it's attempting to break through some of these prior 15-minute candle highs here at, what is that, 250, 25, 670s? Yeah, I think so. 680, sorry, 225, 680 is some of those highs there. So that's coming in as well. Softy pulling back up to its highs. Let's see what Tesla is doing. Tesla continues to print some fresh highs there as well, and Amazon trending up at the same time. Let's see what else is going on here. Micron with a bit of a curl, so maybe that's something here. So let's take a look at Micron. All right, so I'll go to a 15-minute here. All right, cool. So Micron, strong sell, bit of a consolidation under 325. Was that a bit of a level earlier? Maybe. Opening range highs of Monday, so week open. So weekly open is what we're kind of attempting to bounce off of right now. We got to a low of 322, so we did kind of violate that, but pushing right back up. Again, market tailwind maybe on our side as well as the ES makes some fresh highs. Let's see if the Nasdaq here can catch up at the same time. So I can go through some of the stocks that I had on my watch list this morning and take a look at how they are faring as of right now. So IWM was the first one, and I had one level. I said prior day low breakdown. That's what I'm looking for. Guess what? That did not happen. But what did happen was prior day high breakout. So, you know, you got it. This is again an example of staying nimble. This was a bit of a range on the day, and what I like to do with some of these ranges is look for that range break. So if we kind of point out the high and then point out the low, we didn't quite get to the range lows of prior day, but we did get above. We pulled back, holds that 257, 256 level, and now pushing up even higher here. So that didn't really work out as per plan. But the range break, if that was the plan, that's working out quite nicely here on IWM. Now, RTX and LMT were also on my watch. As you guys know, these things had some negative news from the president. And then RTX was the one that got slapped even harder at the end of the day, right after hours, where I think he had some more statements specifically on RTX. We got down to 175 and then rips right back up, saying that they're going to get a 1.5 trillion injection into defense or something like that, something along the lines of that. Don't quote me on the specifics, but it was something like that. So it wipes right back up, kind of giving back that move. I was like, okay, if this can break these highs, prior day highs, we can go all the way, maybe potentially up to 200. 200 is definitely in play, but guess what? That didn't really happen. We came in, flushed, ripped up to pre-market highs, couldn't really get through any of those pre-market highs with any sort of distinction, and then selling came right back in on RTX. So it wasn't really involved in that one. Now LMT, kind of a similar story here. Look at this one, straight wipe, shake and bake. Talk about a little bit of a dip buy off of 500 on LMT. So that held 500 quite well, and coming in off of the open, we had an opening price of around 530s to 531s here. Got to a high of 542s. So there goes the ES, there goes the Nasdaq as well, catching a bit of a bid. And now ACON as well. We talked about ACON, so I'm not going to cover that one again. APLD, that one did exactly what I was looking for. Earnings name. Again, on this one, I had the range kind of drawn out. I was just like, this is the range high, this is the range low. I'm only going to get involved if we do anything distinct with the range. Guess what? We did. And this, I guess I missed out on because we did, I guess, dip all the way in the 32.26s and then ripped all the way up to 35s once again for a retest. But that flush, that 35 continues to stay a bit of resistance as it was coming in off of the open. So we looked like we were breaking out of this range intraday and come back in. Look how beautiful that hold is. Talk about support and resistance.
On APLD?
On APLD. Like,
yeah, that's where I got in. I got in on that second hold right there.
Right here?
No, the following hold, the one that you're going to go to next.
This one right here.
No, this one here.
Okay, now.
Yeah.
So this one here. But yeah, no, I think this was the level that I was looking at in the pre-market and holds significance because this is the earnings reaction, right? And that right now is the day, not the day low, but the consolidation low on the day here right now. So that level was very significant for me. So APLD, great opportunities off of the open, both long and short. That's what I took it as. I took the long off of the opening range high. Didn't really take it to 35s, but when that buying kind of fell off, I was like, all right, the probability of VWAP is starting to get higher and higher, so I do want to stay involved, so I took that piece off as well. And then open door.
Who's
This
punching
was
that and getting
another
94s?
one here as well. I was just like, okay, this moved with that with the BX news, BX and RKT news yesterday, kind of moved in a similar fashion where we kind of sold off and then pulled into $6. So this one, I was like, okay, if we're going to sell off, this has been running a little bit over the past few days. We're going to continue selling off. I'm just going to keep it simple and look for a $6 breakdown. Guess what? That didn't happen. I didn't get involved at all. So a lot of plans, but not all of them followed through. The only one that really did was APLD, and I only traded APLD from the watch list. Other tickers that I traded were Apple, Microsoft, and NVIDIA, my good friends on the Mag 7.
Okay, there we go. All right, so now we got something figured out there on APLD, guys. You've seen that we were in at 3280s. I mean, now it's starting to rebound. So we were talking about re-engaging earlier in the day. It comes right back to my break-even point, and then now you're getting that little bit of a bounce. But, I mean, we went full in. So whatever we just lost on Mara, we gained right back here in APLD. I was thinking about, I had a strong hunch it was going to do that, right? Like come back right into the break even and bounce. So let's see how it reacts around this zone. So just that little scalp, in a matter of literally 4 minutes, we just gained back exactly. And I only had 25% remaining right at that specific zone. So APLD has been definitely our best trader here on the intraday session, guys. I mean, from the morning, even ONDS has been pretty good to us. It's not doing anything right now, but if there's a chance where we break through some key support levels here on APLD, we're going to hop right back in, especially on any form of indecision. So a nice little move there on APLD, a scalp, 4 minutes in and out, comes back to break even, looking to re-engage. Just keeping an eye on the tape. Right, that's when I was just risking 10 cents, and then we were fortunate enough. I take off at a 1-to-1, so there it goes, breaking through that lows. Happy that we got out exactly when we were supposed to. We don't want to turn a winning trade into a loser, but yeah, there it is, 33.05, so a little bit more than the 2.5-to-1 roughly there on APLD. Did we lock all of that in? No, because we had 25% remaining, and we were partialing on the way out. So I got my eyes on a bunch of other things. I'm curious what you guys are looking at. Yeah, let's see what Robinhood is up to there, Gorev. Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. It's such a difficult name to short in my opinion. Every time I try to, it just is like, no, we're going to start buying back up. And look at this daily here too, brother. I mean, another indecision print. You have a couple down days, but after this print right here, you get a nice gap up. You come back, you're retesting it. Now it's starting to establish a higher low. Pretty good. Right, so we'll take that 100%. APLD cracking through that neckline. We're happy to get out of there, and we're just going to sit on our hands. We tried MARA. We go 1 for 2 on that one, ending up negative on the name, but we've traded 3 here. We'll go 2 for 3 on names in itself. ONDS, pretty good for us. APLD definitely being the better one for the intraday session. We're drinking black coffee here as well, too. I've always been a black coffee guy. When I do drink it, I don't drink it that often. But Adara, what do you got for us?
Keep an eye here on Sweet Green. CNBC just basically releasing an article here saying the new food guidelines that were released yesterday by RFK Jr. and the Health and Human Services Department of the United States Trump administration. Basically, CNBC saying that these guidelines could actually boost some of these fast casual chains with maybe healthier options like Chipotle and Sweet Green. Sweet Green here at intraday highs. CMG near intraday highs, but not getting that same boost that SG is having. So again, keep an eye on Sweet Green. And Chipotle, as we do have CNBC touting these names as a potential play here after that new food guideline was released. Back to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Just mentioning our guy Gaurav and Los Polios. Great to have you back, Los, in the chat. I know you were on vacation for quite some time. Trust me, people don't forget. Cheers to coffee. Yeah, I'm not the biggest coffee guy, but I figured we might have a little bit here today. And then, sure enough, you're having a solid one. What did you trade? I know you said that I think you were trading NVDA or something along those lines this morning, Los. I hope that's working out really well. Aside from, I mean, what has Meta been up to today? Not much, but starting to display some prints that are slightly, oh, okay, no, that's a daily print, Let's head over to the 5-minute and see what we got going on. I mean, it did recover from that 5-minute opening drive. Let's pull it down to see, you guys can see exactly what I'm looking at here. So 5-minute to the downside, and then you come right back into that range. Couldn't quite test opening price, and then now you're starting to come back in a little bit. APLD really moving to the south side, considering. What do we got there, Assassino? Pull it up, brother, and see what we got going on for the super. Hi, guys. You're my two favorites since Sharif is out. Appreciate that. We love Neil and Sean as well, too. CVS Rivian, can you give me your take? Absolutely, Leanne. Oh, is it Leanne from South Carolina? Or is that someone else? So thank you very much for that and the super chat. We're going to take a look at those for you right now. CVS, we're going to start that off with an intraday PA. Looking pretty clean. Indecision print right at the lows and a recovery, heading right back to the high of that opening drive. This is the 5-minute orb right here. You get a gap up as soon as the market opens up at 9:30. But what's more important, CVS Health, we're going to head over to the daily and see what we got going on. I mean, I like it right now from what I'm currently seeing just from a technical standpoint, especially considering you have this trend line being formed. It's consistent higher lows, and then now you're right into some resistance zones. If it fails this attempt, then maybe you will crack this downtrend to the downside. But if you're fortunate enough to get an open above 81.90s and maybe even 82s, if you're really, really lucky, I like your chances for going to test this previous pivot high here on CVS Health. And there's no reason to think that it wouldn't, other than what goes on in the market, considering if we look at some of the primary trends, and I mean, I'm just pointing out a secondary trend right here. The primary is right to the top side. So if you're following that, I think you're putting odds in your favor. So not too bad of a look there on CVS. Obi, did you want to take a look at Rivian for Leanne?
Let's take a look at Rivian here at the same time. RIVN. Okay, so yeah, Rivian Automotive. I guess it's up on the day. It's looking decent, but I am not too familiar with its higher time frame. So right away, we know that Randy is involved in this stock as well. So that's working out quite nice for him over the past few years. Since about 2024, we've made a bit of a base here at $10. I have $10, yeah, roughly at $10 right there. And then kind of just sideways chop, chop, chop. Finally, catching a bit of a break and a trend break as well on the weekly. So I like that. Maybe I do have some indicators on this. Okay, so nothing too crazy, but I do have anchored VWAPs all the way from 2024. And guess what? All of those anchors eventually, they're all event driven. Some are earnings, some are other events that I thought were significant as well. I don't think every earnings is that significant, but some of them definitely are. Eventually, all of them kind of compress and price holds and steps up onto them, giving us more confluence for a bit of the trend break. And trend break is what we've been having here on the higher time frame picture. So we can kind of look at where's my trend line? Okay, we can kind of look at a bigger picture here. I don't think I need these anymore because those are probably intraday, so I'll get rid of those. But you can see right here, as we stepped down, this was a little bit of a dominant trend here, especially in and around here. We kind of, once we started breaking this trend, yeah, this reversion seems like it's coming in on a much higher time frame. Now, we can probably see it nicer on the monthly, as it will be a little bit more distinct. So can't really sell off anymore, starts to go sideways, steps up onto some prior levels, and now off to the races, breaking out of prior resistances in back-to-back months. So for the past 3 months, this thing's been going green, and still 22 trading days left in this month to go. Sorry, 22 days left in this month to go, and it seems like it's starting to catch a little bit more of the same. same trend as we had the prior 2 months. And again, volume hasn't really come in to rival that of the prior 2 months, but it's looking good here. Definitely buyers a little bit more in charge than they were over the past few years, over the past 3 months here on Rivian. So I got that. So that's how I kind of see this chart on Rivian today. So we had another super chat here, 32 bagger on NOC short. Shout out to Adara, spready ticker. Yes, great short there. I was looking at it a little bit earlier here. NOC, take a look at this one, man. Beautiful short there. I asked, okay, so I asked, where did you hit it? Short at 630, stop at 640, had to go to work, just got back and closed it out. Great trade there. So 630 right here, the trend is broken, sellers are coming back in, volume is starting to dwindle off, the same kind of volume that brought us to the highs there, and then risking to the high, risking a little bit above the high. 638 was the high, so great trade there, and now still kind of consolidating at the lows back below 600. So I'm assuming you got some fills below 600, so great trade for you there. It's 32 bagger, you said. So yeah, you got 598s, I'm assuming, on that if you're short from 630. So good trade there. MF, dangerous.
My boy MF, all right, man. The Katina man himself, long TQs here. I mean, he's onto something. I'm looking at it. He might be onto something here as the market is just moving sideways, but I'm looking at some of the big names here. We're starting Apple heading towards back the top side here, and then also Amazon putting a new high of the day. So, yeah, good call out there, Mr. Katina. Yeah, nice little pop there. I can hear him punching keys. He's taking a little bit out over there. Let's see how much he's taking. A couple percentage points as it's climbing a little bit higher. Nice move there by Mr. Sean as TQs, as soon as he hops in, bang, he gets the pennies just like that. So a nice little move. Boom. Hey, we'll hit this one for you there, my brother. Nice little trade on, I mean, this is beauty. As soon as I seen this happen, I'm like, oh no, nice call out, man. And then he gets that move automatically, like 10, 15 cents right there. So no, Katina man, I think he would be Gryffindor, maybe Ravenclaw. Not Slytherin, that's for sure. He wants to be Hufflepuff. He's Hufflepuff. All right. He's Hufflepuff. Yes. He likes Hufflepuff. Nothing wrong with that. We like all of them. Draco Malfoy. Give it here, Malfoy. Give it here. All right. I love Sean makes money. He gets me pumped. Yeah, Los Polios, man. We gotta love it, man. There's no questioning that whatsoever. We're heading back to our scans to see what we can potentially find. Oh, Obi, look at this. If you're thinking about a reversion, here's BMNR with an inverted hammer indecision print right at that high, almost an isolated print right there, brother. So we're having the close equal to the open on 3 candles in a row. Insane. So you can see open, next candle, it opens and closes there, and then you have that open at the 31.49 level. That is a nice 3-bar play if you're asking me. Are you looking at BMNR right now as well?
I'm looking at it right now.
All right.
No, it's looking
pretty good.
Decent there.
Right on,
yeah, that
right
volume kind of done after that. I have it on my chart. Maybe my chart's different after the hammer candle there. So I like to look at a 3-minute, but I know you're looking at a 5 there as well.
Yeah,
but
5
even then, the hammer candle comes in, and then the large volume bar comes in about 2 candles later there. Underneath 3140. So yeah, maybe on the break of trend, I just instantly drew a bit of a trend line, whether you're using trend lines or moving averages, we are breaking below that level. Wow, look at that. There's confluence on this, Joe, right here. This was that consolidation high from yesterday.
Nice. Yeah,
we
great
come
call
right into that area, and then that's where sellers were off of the open yesterday, and then they were there once again during the midday. Guess what? They're showing up once again here, again on the midday after a strong bid for over, I guess, what, 2 hours? 2.5 hours, 2 hours, 45 minutes here, according to the measurement. So yeah, good look there. Apple still chopping it around between 257s, 257.70s and 257s here as of right now, man. This chip sector looks really, really weak, and TSM is the one that I'm watching here when it comes to some of those here. So you can see consolidation, maybe a flat bottom break here
look at that.
On TSM. This is looking quite nice here. Let's take a look at a higher time frame. Hourly, Are we in a downtrend, bigger picture? We've been selling off over the past couple of days. Bigger picture, nope, not really that much in a downtrend, but take a look at this. Sideways consolidation. Where is the resistance? 313s. That's about $3 to $4 away from where we are right now. Does that prior resistance turn into support, even though we've been selling off aggressively for the past 2 or 3 days, especially today? Today's selling is a little distinctly different than that of yesterday and the day prior. Monday already came in with a gap up, and then we sold that off as well here on TSM. So let me know in the chat what you guys are watching. SoFi, someone just said, and I just remembered that Neil pointed out earlier. Oh no. 28.05s. It got all the way up to a little bit of a pullback. Excuse me, but it's not really kind of accelerating the same way it accelerated to the top side. So I'm asking myself, what's the likelihood of making higher highs on this or higher lows? We already talked about what that weekly opening price was. We can just go back to Monday. That was in and around, I think it was 27.80s here. This is Monday. What is the opening price of the first bar? Okay, 27.79 I have here. So we're in and around that same area. So the question becomes, are we gonna stay green on the week? Do we hold green on the week? It's coming in to be a little bit of a doji on the weekly here. So this is what I'm looking at when I say that. Strong top wick, strong bottom wick. We have been chopping around in this zone between 30 and 25s for the past few months, since about September here. We've been chopping around in this area, but holding structure above all-time highs, which is what I like. Right, oh, okay. 24 is right there, a bit of a double top. We broke out of that. This is a nice, beautiful trend over the past few years on SoFi as well. This is a nice consolidation as well. Let's see if it can continue to hold above 25s and give us a potential leg to the upside. What do you got going on?
Silver, we're getting a nice little pop here in silver. I don't know if I'm going to hit like a one-to-one on this one. This is just more or less a breath, I think, in the downtrend, but I've seen on multiple occasions it just started to print indecisions right on the 1 minute time frame at a key support level. And I'm like, if I'm going to put my money anywhere, it's probably into silver bouncing off a support level. I think that's somewhat logical. So I don't know how much this is going to be sustained. I'm not going to give it too much room. I'll pull it up for you guys here, considering, even though we do want to try and hold it for a one-to-one, just in case this is a breath. See, there it goes. Like, I got an instant pop right here. So you can see we're in at 63s. It does climb up to 70s. I would have liked 73s, but as soon as it cracks this low, I have to get out of this because thesis, therefore, invalid. So what was I getting involved on here is these prints right here. So that's not too bad of a look. So boom, boom, boom. I told you detail is extremely important, especially for my style. But yeah, that was a nice little move. 73s is where we're going to look to take some off. So we're out at the low of the day. It's only a couple of cents worth of risk in order to hit that 73. So yeah, that's what we're looking for, 10 cents approximately with only 3 cents worth of risk. If this works out, then that's going to be absolutely phenomenal. But it's not looking like it right now, to be honest. We'll stay optimistic. We don't want to get too aggressive. So yeah, it's printing 61s. Let's see if this bounce can be sustained. If not, we're going to head right back into AP. Oh, there it goes. Wow, what an aggressive crack to the downside. We're going to get out on SLV. It's putting in a new low. Oh man, that was a nice little pop. We could have took some off, but we didn't. So we'll give a little bit back here on SLV, but I still like the opportunity. I'm going to stick with APLD as well, as it's starting to print something that I personally like, as it's heading a little bit south. Trying to find that bottom gets a little bit tough, especially when the momentum's really starting to increase. That pop would have been nice, but I wanted to try and hold it a little bit longer. I'll take an additional stab at it, and if I end up giving back more on it, that's okay. I like our chances here in SLV at some key support levels. Here it is on the 5 minutes. So we're right back to my entry price and now going north. Oh no, Obi, we were talking about no tomfoolery there in SLV. Seems to be the case right now, as it take a nice aggressive move and then now right back to my entry price. Did I say OP? I meant to say entry price. But I like what we got going on here, so I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities throughout the day. I want to see buyers start to re-engage here in APLD, considering since the lunchtime hour, Yeah, okay, we got to take this stab. Regardless of what happens here, we're at 27s. I'm going to post up at 25s on APLD to see if we can get that. If it wants to tank, then so be it. But yeah, we're just going to take that chance, guys. Here, oh no, that's not what I want. But yeah, super slow on the keys. Adair, what do you got for us?
Keep an eye here on Instacart, CART. As you can see on your screen, I'm seeing reports that the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, demanding answers from Instacart with regards to their algorithmic pricing. Now, there were earlier some indications that they're already stopped doing this, so unclear what the investigation would necessarily be about at this point. But CART, again, dropping amid reports that New York Attorney General Letitia James is looking to probe the company with regards to its algorithmic pricing. Back to you.
Yeah.
Now we're getting the consolidation lows, so all of those longs holding from there.
Yeah, exactly.
They're probably going to get rocked.
Exactly.
I don't know.
I think
That's
so.
my thesis.
I think you might be right.
It
Let's
could
try
just
it.
bounce from here. This was a
No, it's not looking like it, to be honest with you, Odie, but instant OTM on that trade there. So if not, we'll take this loss, we'll give it a little bit back, and then we'll sit on our hands for a bit, wait for a higher quality opportunity. But I mean, 5 minutes starting to display something. It's just a scalp, right? If we can get a 10, 20 cents bounce, then that would be ideal for the kid as it's really starting to kind of come back in. What am I in at? 33? All right, we're pinning 24s. Yeah, not too good of a look there, my brother. We've got to be patient as it looks like the momentum is most definitely to the downside right now in the overall market. You're short APLD from 32.28. Oh, okay. So, yeah, I hate going against each other as well. So, I mean,
it's funny, you were just talking about that, and I had already pulled it. Someone in the chat
You pulled the trigger, eh?
And I saw it coming into those range lows, and I was like, all right, I'll take a quick stab at this. Nothing too crazy, right? I think, again, the best opportunities in this one were right off of the open. If we're going to come back into those day lows, I was just telling Joe, I was like, yeah, there was definitely longs that took these breaks for sure for an attempt at 35. We couldn't get to 35, and that's where we see a bit of this trend break from the lows there. That's happening. And then we also, if you want to point out some support and resistance levels, this is the range, and then this is that's the range high there at 35 halves, and then the range low here right now coming in at 32.24s as well. Opening price, that's what I'm looking at, is at 31.65s. So that's still a distance away, but this is also that pre-market high right here as well. We talked about this level being a little bit of a significant level. And after this story has been built up on the day where, yeah, you attempt to hold, you attempt to go long, and then you crack, sellers are definitely in charge. You see the volume spikes on the way down as well. Now we're testing that level that I thought was key from before. Once again, I don't know which way the probabilities really start stacking, but I think that on the way down might be some players caught offside. That's just a thesis. Let's see if the price action and the chart and the volume really confluence with that idea and see if that actually comes into fruition. The market tailwind, of course, it kind of helps, but I think, again, APLD does its own thing, even though it's been shopping around sideways since the market, and the market has been doing the same as well. So see if we can crack this with any sort of distinction, keeping it light and tight on APLD.
Oh, look at silver go now, man. Just a little bit early on the gun on this one, and you're getting that nice little bounce. There was a couple opportunities, Obi, I think, to re-engage in this one, but I was like, oh no, APLD, it's been working for us. So we'll try not to be too quick next time to jump ship. I think you might be okay on this trade here, considering you're in at 32.28. So we're in roughly around the same time, same place there, Obi. So let's see what we got going on. A couple pennies, a nice indecision print there on the 5 minute in APLD. So let's see where it wants to go from this point. I think this is a big time battle that we're experiencing. If anything, I believe that your thesis, you're on the right side, I believe, in my opinion, right? So you can see the trend line break and then the aggressive move down. I'm counter trending right now, so I have to be really cautious on how long I'm going to hold this and for a potential target as well. So a tight move like that typically it's not easy. And then on the 1 minute, we'll head over to the 1 minute time frame. This is not a good print right now in which I'm seeing. So you can see that you get buyers push it up to 38, but then you get the aggressive selling and pushing price back down, closing as an inverted. So once you get past that candle wick, it might be a good idea for me to just hop out. Right now we are at the break even, this wick here on there. So yeah, there it is. This thing is delayed, man. So make sure that when you do have market latency is extremely important when you're trading. I mean, you want a direct connection, direct access to the market. So you're literally milliseconds away, not something that's lagging like that. That's one fault in those charts that I just told you. It's just really, really late to the dance. All right, Obi, we have to get out of there. You're right on that one 100%. So we take well, I mean, you just got a 15-cent move. I wouldn't say it's a chop zone right now. It is a little bit of a chop zone, to be honest with you. You're not wrong. But we had to get out at the break of the low, just considering due to share size and everything along those lines. We'll take another attempt on it, to be honest with you. We do give back the majority here, which kind of it sucks considering, but I like our chances. So we'll take one more stab at this, give it a little bit more room. All right, let's take one more, a better price. We might be able to get a bounce, but this will be the last one. If it does crack that low, then we'll have to look at something else and see if we can find something and be more patient. Oh, there it goes once again. So sellers stepping in aggressively, OB. Not too good of a look there in APLD for the boy who's looking to go long. This wick here on this candle is driving me nuts. All right, what do you got going on other than APLD, brother?
No, I'm just staring this tape down because I was familiar with it this morning. When it goes, it can really teleport. There it is, back down into 32, just slapping it down right there. This is pre-market highs here right now, so that's the next level here. Can we get through pre-market highs? Again, I was talking to some of my pod members this morning, and taking this reversion, we were just like, yeah, what's the likelihood of this coming right back into some of those opening prices? And when it was selling off aggressively, I was like, yeah, maybe right now, maybe later, but seems like it might be coming into fruition now. So let's see if that can come in. That's sitting again at 31.60s here on the day. That's opening price, and that's where it was a great long. I think it was an absolutely solid long through the pre-market highs as well, and a little bit of turbulence. I think we're still in this bit of a chop zone here right now because that 32.20s was a key level, not only today, but on the earnings reaction as well, in the pre-market as well, off of the open, and once again on that pullback around, when was this? Around 10:30. So yeah, still in this chop zone. We'll see what happens. See, it's coming right back to 32.20. So we did come all the way down to 32s flat and then coming right back in. But yeah, sellers have been very much in charge since we failed to follow through up into 35. So we'll see how this one kind of pans out. Just waiting patiently, just watching some of this action here. So that's what I really have going on. I'm going to try to keep it tight as well. Apple seems like it made a lower high relative to some of the levels that we were looking at before here. So Apple as well. So we held lower than that 257.70 level here from before and made a trip right back down into VWAP and holding some of those prior levels as well. So a little bit of a chop here as well, but 57.60s all the way to 56.70s here on Apple. So that's all I really have on watch. Let me know in the chat what you guys are watching. SoFi looked like it was starting to curl, but we're currently making a higher low as of right now. So just going to be a little patient with that. If I do want to take a piece off of it, I think I want to see some more structure building before I really get involved. Blackstone, one from yesterday. Let's take a quick look at that one here. BX. So rejecting some of the same levels that we sold off of yesterday here. So 156s comes in off of the reaction there. That anchored VWAP, I still have it on from the event yesterday, and that came in by the end of the day. That came in off of the open as well with a bit of a bounce, but we still are rejecting. Again, just simple support and resistance from prior days. So you have that pull up there. So maybe you want to mark it there. Maybe you mark it at the lower high. Doesn't matter. This is that kind of area where you're seeing some selling step in. And this all the way down here was the area for buying. But that's a little extended, right? That's a little too far. I'm just going to use an anchored VWAP for that, just being like, okay, well, anybody and everybody who kind of bought are sitting in and around this line, as well the average participant there. So let's see if it can kind of revert back in. That's kind of what I have on watch right now. Blackstone, what else do we have here at the same time? APLD, yeah, that's working right now. SLV, SanDisk all the way back to its VWAP. So SNDK, wow, look at this reversion here that pulled right back in. So I was watching this one and I just took eyes off of it. That's my problem. Again, talk about skill issue here. I should have been involved right here, but not really watching the stock that is selling off. Again, very, very much in play, and a beautiful, clean reversion to VWAP when the buyers finally step back in. And you can just keep it simple. What marks that? A little bit of a volume drop off. The first green candle on the 15-minute happens, and then you start to break some structure, and you have a slow and steady grind all the way back to the highs there. And that started to happen around 11:15. Funny enough, as soon as I sat down for the midday, I was watching SNDK, and I was like, this is looking like it could curl from here. This is looking like this could happen. And then I take my eyes off, and lo and behold, we have reverted back to VWAP on SN. So that one's coming in pretty nicely as of now. Yeah, APLD holding that 32 pretty well as well. So I got to keep close eyes.
I got out of it. We got a nice little pop higher, and I'm like, you know what? Let me get out here on this breath, just in case, because yeah, the sellers are most definitely in control.
Sellers are definitely breathing.
Yeah. I didn't want to fight that, considering, right? They just give back more and more. So yeah, nice trade on that one. I mean, you added to it?
We're not. Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay. All right. Of course. Oh, well, of course. All right.
Yeah, I see the sellers coming in, so I'm like, yeah, of course, I want to join them as well at the same time. So we'll see if that 32 cracks with any sort of distinction. The Memex boys on the bid. Hello, what's up, Members Exchange? 116 lots on the bid, exactly at 32s. They get taken out. Thank you for providing that liquidity. Let's see if we can trade a little bit lower here, or if 32 holds, that's perfectly fine as well. Chevron is another name at the same time, which is trending much higher. Now, this is also another name in play that gave us a bit of a shake and bake at the beginning of the week. Again, Venezuela-related trade here, strong selling off of the open, and then reversion. Coming into the end of the day, those sellers step right back in and pull right back into some of those areas from earlier 156s. We're seeing that pull up into prior day's highs as well. So very, very strong sell day on Tuesday. That was aggressive. I did get involved with a little bit of a chase here yesterday. If you guys were watching, you guys saw that. And then coming right back into prior day's highs here. So maybe a little bit of consolidation. So we came back into prior level, which was, this thing ran up, man. This thing ran up on Friday, and then we got the news. When was the news? I think it was going into the end of Friday, maybe?
No.
I don't remember. I heard that there were some bets taken on Polymarket for the whole Venezuela situation, and some dude, he made like 400K after betting like 30K or something like that. I don't know if you guys heard of that, but
that's a nice RVR.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody definitely knew something, and that's the thing with markets. You can see it. I'll say this again, and I forget which trader it was on Twitter, and he said, and I've observed this kind of action happen over and over again. I just didn't have a good like token phrase to go along with it, and this guy said it right, man. He's like, price precedes news, and you can see that happen more often if you just sit there and stare at something and you're like, oh, what was that just now? And then like 5-10 minutes later, some news comes out and you're just like, okay, well, somebody definitely knew, and the tape and the book told you the story before the report was actually out, and it just reiterates and reinforces the fact that price action is king, and the tape and the book are always, they give a little bit of information, right? Now, of course, candlesticks are great as well. You don't necessarily need the tape in the book to make money or do really, really well in the market. So that's just how I like to look at things. But then again, what do I know?
For sure. All right, yeah, I mean, I think you know a lot there, Obi. So there it is.
Call me Jon Snow.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, we all know nothing, regardless how smart you think you are. We live on a little blue dot. Oh, there goes silver, posted up just below 40s. Yeah, we live on a blue dot in the middle of nothing, Obi. We essentially all know nothing.
In the vastness of the universe.
Yeah, exactly.
The great abyss.
It doesn't matter how smart you think you are. Anyways, aside from that, 68.40s, a nice little bit nice move there. We would have been in at 39s, just a little bit below 40s, and then you get a nice little pop there in SLV, and then now APLD starting to get a little bit of a bounce as well. I don't know if I want to take another attempt. I mean, I have one more opportunity to take a loss on that, but we'll be patient. I do like this 5-minute print here in silver, so let's see if this can hold up. Break up the low of 60.20. It's going to give it 20 cents risk there approximately. So we'll continue to take a look. We give it back. We give some back here on those losses in APLD and on SLV. We made it back initially, but then we do give some back there. Full disclosure, obviously, we don't hide or shy away from anything. So. What we're telling you from a P&L standpoint. Joe, thank you for reading me. Joe, I'm really DK. How exit that is trade? Oh, yeah, anytime. Luckily that you got out, and I think it's a smart move that you got out at break even as well, because that's essentially what happened to me on a couple of trades here. I'm like, you know what, let's just get out here, right? So we take a loss there. I know it's a little bit tough to see. It's some wick candle. I don't know what's going on with this stuff. So yeah, we take a little bit of a loss as the momentum picked up, and then we take another one here. But I was like, we got that pop up, and I'm like, do I hold this to see? But then once it started to not really continue its momentum to the top side, I'm like, let's get at a dodge and find something else to potentially trade. So thank God, or I'm happy that we didn't hold on too much for that, as Obi is still currently in that position. And I think we're going to catch a fill here on silver momentarily. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Hopefully that we can get that one to work. But APLD back up to 32.20s. Adair, what do you have?
Yeah, just worth noting, guys, this White House press conference or press briefing with White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt has just begun. As I mentioned earlier and a couple times now, J.D. Vance, Vice President of the U.S., is supposed to be here with her. If he does make an appearance, just be aware here. But yeah, either way here, keep an eye on this market. I also want to let you guys know that we're having comments at the same time from U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on the Fed chair pick. He says that he thinks Trump will make his decision by January, and that apparently they have yet to interview Rick Rieder. Now, Rick Rieder was considered one of the top contenders here alongside Kevin Warsh, Kevin Hassett, and Christopher Waller. So interesting look. Apparently, Rieder not yet interviewed. Back to you.
There he is, the man himself, Mr. Mike Peter Ryder, in the chat. Yeah, welcome, brother. I don't know I think I do know what you were up to last night, but we're not going to call you out on that one, my guy. How's your APLD? Oh, I guess I can look at it, but there goes silver. There goes silver,
like I said before, it's just a chop. This is a chop zone. I'm expecting a little bit of a chop because of the significance of the level from before that we pointed out. 32.20s again, earnings reaction high. This could very well catch a bid, man. Like that's I know that for sure. But as long as it continues to show some sort of seller dominance, I want to stay involved here. And again, there's a bit of a range. We can go all the way up to 32.5s and then come back down. We can make a lower high and then come back down, or we can not do that at all. We can just turn on a pivot here. So there's a lot of different iterations of how this can pan out that I'm kind of thinking about going through my head right now, and just kind of trying to dance with some of this price action here at the same time. But yeah, Apple coming right back up into its range highs here from before, 27.60. So yeah, just kind of chop, chop, chop. The market still hasn't done anything crazy, man. We're still kind of compressing in this range. We're making lower highs, maybe some higher lows as well. So let's see where this windup really takes us. I do think that most of the best moves do happen during the pre-market and the after hours. So Blue Ocean session has been, to say the least, absolutely solid. And we talked about that yesterday, about how I need to probably manage my time. And once again today, or last night, there was a move that happened. I guess the market puked a little bit in and around 1 a.m. And I was well within deep REM cycles by that time there. So I'm just like, do I stay up for these? I'm really seriously starting to think about staying up a little bit later, maybe change my sleep schedule around so I still get enough sleep, but the commute plus everything else, I do have to kind of figure that out. We'll see how that pans out. But Blue Ocean has been great opportunities for those who wait. Have you been swimming in the Big Blue? No, Sean, I'm telling you, no paddles. Hey man, you don't need paddles at all. You just need maybe, you don't even need a floaty, man. Come on. You gotta be involved. Some of that price action is crazy in the Blue Ocean, but it takes forever, dude. I was waiting for that trade to come in for a few hours, never really happened. Went to bed. It comes in 3 hours later. I'm like, all right, cool, thank you. I think something better would be just to like have like better stops. If I could just, I think Neil and I were talking about this, just have a stop in and then just go to bed and have something that just punches you out at 4 a.m. on the market close. So if your stop hasn't been hit, I'm sure I can cook that up pretty easily. But yeah, I think I'm thinking about that as well. Just something that punches me out at 4 o'clock if my stop hasn't been hit, or just getting involved and just sitting on it, maybe with some alerts. But sleep is definitely priority number one right now on my list.
Dude, I'm in bed by like 9:30 this week, man.
Yeah. You're here pretty early as well, pretty consistently, man. I'm here, sometimes I come in at 9, sometimes I come in at 8, sometimes I come in at 7. It's all over the place. It really depends on how the night goes and what kind of things I have planned for the day as well. So yeah, just something I'm trying to figure out for this year. But there's like eventually we're gonna go 24 hours, man. It's gonna be a 24-hour market.
Yeah.
So I'm really starting to think about like what's the sleep schedule gonna be there. I'm gonna have to pick and choose, and also have like, excuse me, maybe some algos to do some of the work for me when I'm offline.
Absolutely, I think that's the ultimate goal. I know you've been working on your algo. Same here. I'm just waiting really to get it going, plug it in. Let's see if we recover from our IBIT losses. Then I might just go on my personal account. I'll probably just go full-time automated, essentially. So, all right, Arun, I got you, brother. CEG. Let's take a look at it. Constellation Energy. We'll pull it up here on the 5-minute and see what we got cooking for you, my brother. You can see that the downtrend is most definitely intact. I don't know if you're short. Hopefully, you want to go with the flow on this one. I'm thinking about doing the exact same thing here on APLD. We missed our potential fill on SLV, but there it is on Constellation Energy, CEG. Let's get this changed up so you guys can see a little bit better. This thing does this every day. It's crazy. Angry Wave, are you in the chat? It's like it fixes one bug and then another bug comes up. And before, I forget what was happening. So yeah, I would have to adjust all of my charts in a manner. And then sure enough, it doesn't update. I'm like, oh, it fixed it, fantastic. But then now the bug is that it has the inability to show VWAP on lower time frames. And I'm like, what the hell? It's one thing after the other. So I think it was you who was saying it's such an ancient technology, and it's like, oh my God. And it's also delayed, right? It's better to look at your quotes than actually what the price action is. And I told you, market delay is so important, and make sure you get yourself a platform where you can figure how much you actually are delayed, all right? CEG, let's head over to the daily from my guy Rune Warrior and see what we got going on. I think you want to stick with the short as you break through some key support levels here. You can see that on CEG heading lower and lower, and the momentum is most definitely. So you have 4 consecutive down days, and if you want to go into this kind of mess over here, you have out of the past 9, you have 1 solid green session. So it looks like the momentum is to the southeast. All right, Arun. And then someone else may about something else. Sorry, I forget what it is. Would you take a look at ATRO? Absolutely. Let's pull that up. ATRO. Astronics Corp. All right, $62 name from a daily. What has it been up to? Oh, wow, okay. So there's so many diamonds in the rough here. I mean, if we go to our August low, to where we're currently trading at 137 That's a pretty good look. And I mean, from the daily, we can tell what it's been up to. Obviously, there's going to be liquidity issues here. We don't got to display that. We can see it for itself. And the lower time frame you get, the more kind of barcode type price action you're going to get. Really tough to trade this stuff and get involved. So just be cautious. And if you get any major participants stepping in, it can cause you a world of trouble. So keep an eye out on ATRO. Now, as for anything, you're still short APLD, OB. Nice look as it's starting to get a little bit of a bounce, heading back towards my previous entry prices of 32.20. SLV coming into 68.44s. Let's see if that level can hold up. We're going to be a little bit more patient here, considering we did take that silver loss, and then we took 2 losses in a row on APLD. So yeah, market just moved. It's a really choppy session in the market. I think it's a range-bound day, obviously. Thanks, Captain Obvious, I guess. Just right around the volume-weighted average price, key support levels being held continuously. But then you also have the resistance zones that are coming into play as well. So keep an eye out on this to continue throughout the intraday session. A nice strong one yesterday. Unfortunately, you give up the majority of that and then some as we start to form a range here. Condor trading looks like it's going to be in vogue for all the options individuals. Same thing here with the SPY. We have a high of around 690.61 and a low of around 680.70. So a $3 range in SPY. What's Rocket Lab? I know Rocket Lab is, I thought it was decent here this morning. I could be wrong. Yeah, another choppy session, but potential opportunity being displayed here in RKLB. I'll keep my eyes on this one. I like Rocket Lab a lot. Oh, I really like it even more now, Obi, in RKLB. I'm going to look to get involved in this. Lots of volume here. Let's display what I'm looking at. Indecision print, but we're starting to run in a little bit of liquidity issues, I find. So RKLB, let's see if we get a bounce. You can have your risk profile relatively defined. You have to give it quite a bit of room. So from a, yeah, so about, let's see, about 40 cents or so, a little bit less in RKLB, OB.
Yeah, so I also got involved in that SoFi. Shout out to Neil for pointing that one out. That got all the way up to 28s, and then now taking a little bit of a pullback. But that buying was very, very distinct. You can see almost parabolic. It started going into some of those levels, and we talked about that opening price being around 27.70s, 27.80s roughly. We're trying to trade below it with some volume pushing into it as well. So I did get involved. Unfortunately, did not have entries on the actual trend break. Look at this, green candle after green candle, just back to back right here. And then first red candle, back to back red candles, and the selling starts to kind of come in here. So very distinctive as to when the buyers are in and then when the sellers are in as well. Let's see if that comes in with a bit of continuation as of right now here on SoFi. It's a bit of a parabolic, almost parabolic move here. Intraday, of course, on SoFi. This thing absolutely crazy. So where did this really come from? I have no idea, but when I say that, I mean this little breakout here. So we did have some volume on the push of that 27.29, and then we started to kind of crank much higher here on SoFi. So that's a bit of a parabolic for me. Sure, it's not straight line up, but it was pretty good there on SoFi. So let's see, it's just a little involvement here. 28.05s is the day high. Let's see if that can come in. I do want to kind of add to this position, but don't really. I think the place to add really was this little bounce here, 27.90s. That's just my opinion, because it kind of comes in with the buying again, and the sellers step it right back down. So I was just like, okay, if I was watching that, maybe I'm getting involved there at the same time, but we'll wait and see how that one comes into fruition. What I got going on? That's SoFi, yep. So I got up a little bit here. So APLD seems to be coming into some of those lows.
Yeah,
I want to remind myself what that opening price was. That opening price is 31.65. We just got to 31.85, so about 20 pennies away from that opening price. Let's see what we do in and around that opening price. Now again, always having different iterations of what price action can potentially do here. So it's following through sellers that were here about, almost 2 hours ago are still here very clearly through that 32 area. So let's see if we can get more of the same, and let's see if we can take out some of those opening prices here on APLD for a potential continuation. The market's still kind of doing sideways chop, man. All right, Danny's boy in the chat, thank you very much for the super chat here, saying, hey guys, what's up? Hey, could you take a look at the chart on HUN? Looks like a turnaround to me. So let's take a look at if this honey is going to be sweet here. So HUN, Huntsman. Okay, I thought it was going to be honey something. So HUN. All right. So yeah, maybe I don't know about a turnaround, man. We're at the high a day. We're pretty much attempting to break a high a day here, but I don't know. Let's take a look at a higher time frame. We've broken out of this weekly high as well. We attempted to break lower. So it's just looking at the intraday here, it seems like we've made a bit of a, not really that much of a bottom wick here, but interesting enough. Let's see what the daily looks like here. The dailies, I guess we've been kind of breaking out of a much higher time frame at the same time. $11 is that prior high, and a bit of a maybe support happening here at that $10 level, coming into prior month highs as well. So talk about a breakout, another breakout. It's a bit of a stack for me. Let's see what the volume is on the day. 3.25 million with an average volume of 4.6. So maybe we're doing some extra volume on the day. I want to see what that relative volume is looking like. Okay, so off of coming into the open, we did 20 times to 30 times relative volume here, and then throughout the day, we've been doing about 1.8 to almost 2 times relative volume. So it is doing more volume than average. And breaking out of multiple levels. So that's just telling me that, yeah, the trend is probably going to be my friend here, as again, relative volume, breaking out of highs, trading at the high a day. I don't know if it's going to be a turnaround right now. I can't really answer that question, but thank you for bringing this to our attention here. Huntsman Corporation on the day. So what else did we have here? STX, yeah, man. STX is another crazy runner. That was going absolutely wild yesterday. To the downside, yeah, exactly. Maybe I'm thinking of a different one. Was it SMX? Maybe STX, SMX. Security matters. I think this was the one. Yeah, this was the one going crazy yesterday here. So all the way from $17 up to $40.50, kind of sideways chop on the day today. But seems like SXTC is what you're talking about. China SXT Pharmaceuticals. Wow. Okay. Talk about going crazy. This thing is absolutely wild on the day. What's the percent run on this? Take a look at this. Again, relative volume scanners. They're probably going to give you some of the best opportunities in the market because it's going to show you, it's a good indicator of when a stock is in play. 200% on this first leg. Pulls back. Maybe people are expecting it to go through day low. Pulls right back up to the highs for another 130% pop. So great look there. What's the float on this one? I'm going to suspect anything under 10 million. Oh, no way. Wow, 75 million. I stand corrected. 75 million share float. Question becomes, how much of that is actual free float? That's the next question I'm going to ask as well. But doing about 62 million shares traded on the day, average volume of 2 million, 2.36 million on SXTC. So thank you for pointing that one out. RZLV saying, Andrea in the chat, Andrea net 8240. Let's take a look at this one as well. RZLV. Okay, wow, another runner. And not that much relative volume. Okay, but we did break out of prior day's high, so maybe a bit of a technical trade here. It did do relative volume yesterday and the day before, roughly, in the pre-market. So sometimes that can kind of dumb down the relative volume on the day. If we've already been doing so much volume and then we do start to do a little bit more of the same, the RVOL, mine is a 5-period RVOL, so it only measures the past 5 days. So if we're doing a relative volume for the past 6 days, it'll just read it as 1 times if we're doing the same, more of the same today. So I do have to keep that in mind when it says it's doing sub 1 or around 1 times RVOL. But that breakout of that 350 absolutely mint, as it gives us or gives you about a 10% pop to the upside, 382. So nice little stair step on that one on RZ or ZLV, however you like to say it. What do you got going on?
I was gonna say, nice work on that APLD. You're still in it?
Yeah, of course.
Nice, man. Oh, all right.
No reason to buy, man. I mean, there's like, it broke down, it held the level,
Okay.
broke down. Now we're continuing to sell off. The sellers have been very dominant for the past, again, since 12 o'clock, and it's just showing more of the same weakness. And I talked about that opening price. We're right there at that opening price now. So let's see where that takes us.
Right on. Nice trade there, man, on the short there in APLD with the ad as well. So we like seeing that. Silver starting to work out. I posted up at 38s. We never happened to catch a fill, and now it's starting to climb a little bit higher. Volume, a small volume increase there, but I'm going to wait a little bit more. I do think that APLD can get somewhat of a bounce as the market is as well. But I'm just running through a couple of names. I've seen Joby looking like it wants to do something, holding up at 1551s, but it's not the most liquid name, and I don't want to run into any form of liquidity issues. But the risk profile relatively tight. I mean, we could give this thing 5 or 6 cents, see if it's proven right or wrong. But oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm glad that we didn't get involved in that. It did just break down a little bit there, guys. So not the best look in Joby. I'll show you what I'm looking at. Boom. So this was this print. If it was a little bit more isolated, the issue is being like, okay, so this candle opens up at 54, closes at 51, but then you have a gap up, or no, sorry, you don't have a gap up. So you open right back at 51. I would like to see that a little bit more isolated in order for me to get involved. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm just running back through the scans to see if there's going to be any high quality opportunities. What is Tesla up to as it's consolidating? The higher time frame is going to be able to tell us a lot, as it is hovering around those highs. Could be a good opportunity to get involved, considering indecision print and having the inability to break through that 434 level, and that's holding up strong. So that's something that we like to see. Silver, oh, what a bounce in silver. Wow. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to punch that next time, get in at 40s, and then sure enough, we hit a nice little one right there. So that's what if history. So we'll continue to roll through and see if we find anything else that's kind of catching our eye. We like that bounce in SLV. AMD, what have you been doing? RCAT, okay, so in the world of Joby there, RKLB, we're heading back to that one, see what that's been up to. So just a nice little consolidation. MARA came in as well, so just about around our entry price, but you can see that it peaked at around 1067s and then now punched down approximately 20 cents from that level. Silver going up to 68.90s. Beautiful bounce off of that 5-minute print, right at some key support levels. Oh no. A nice little move right there in SLV. Heading back to the scanner, AAPL, what have you been doing? Did you sustain that move in which we were seeing earlier? Dara brought us the news of the new potential CEO. That is if Mr. Cook himself were to ever step down. I don't know if he's going to or have any plans to. When his contract expires, we can always look a little bit more into that. SoFi, a strong one here, $28. You're getting somewhat of a pullback, only a 1 1/4 right there. So an SOFI, a nice little move. I think OB's slowly starting to piece out there in APLD. It's now printing 3136s. Your average price being 17 on multiple ads, it seems to be on that specific trade. Nice move with the momentum to the downside and following that price action there. OB INTC getting a nice bounce, 5-minute hammer candle right back up to 41.24. Was it yesterday that it had that strong session? It was. Yeah, and then sure enough, crazy, we're giving back the majority of that move, heading right back to that 5-minute opening print high, a little bit south of that level. Talk to us about your APLD, OB.
I mean, I'm just kind of watching it bleed here, continuing to just. We broke through that opening price, and then you just see just flushes of red. So I'm just like, is that people either punching into the bid? It's not SSR, or stops getting taken out from anybody who's holding from the morning, right? There's going to be participants that like hold throughout the day. They buy the open.
Did you have to? Sorry to interrupt. Did you have to order shorts for that?
Nope.
Okay, cool.
I don't think so. Sure, but I don't think I.
I mean, you would know. You would have to put the request in if you had to order it, right?
I think so. APLD, I might have. I gotta check. Let me check. There was, I think, for ACON I did, but let me see what I asked for this morning. Yeah, only asked for ACON.
Right on.
So yeah, no, we do not need shorts for that one there. So that one's coming in. Let's see if we can, what we do with these opening price. So opening range low now is the next level, and that's sitting at 31.06. We're only about 30 pennies away from that. But if we're going to catch a little bit of a bid, I do want to kind of start the piece off here as well. You know, just kind of just take what she gives me. If buyers are going to start to step in, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just trying to go with the trend and just trying to read what the price action and the volume has been telling us for the past couple of hours there. Market still kind of in a chop zone, man. Nothing too crazy. Let's see where Apple is, because last time where I left it off, it was still just ranging within its prior levels here. So that's, again, look at that. More of the same here on Apple, just chop, 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 chop. Sure, if you got involved, you got about $1 each way, because the consolidation was from 57 halves all the way to 56 halves. But not really my thing. If I'm sitting there and I'm staring it down, I'm more than okay with taking something like that, but I do think it requires a little bit more concentration that I'm really allocating to things right now, because again, we're looking at a lot of different things. I'm watching SoFi as well. I'm reading what you guys are saying in the chat as well. Is Tesla short a good idea? I don't know, man. We'll see. Let's take a look at Tesla and see what it's up to. Last time I checked, it was at its day highs. Okay, all right, a little bit of a trend break happening. I like that. 435s I like as well as a little bit of an area. I like to work in fives, the 35s, the 25s, 185s as well. It's just something that I like to look for. And if there's a little confluence for me, I have a little bit more confidence in taking some of that. But you can see the little pop up into the 35s, breaks the trend right here. So let's just draw a little bit of a trend line because those higher lows have been coming in quite nicely. Wow, look at that acceleration to the downside. Absolutely beautiful. Where's VWAP? All the way down at 431s. So do not forget, sellers have been pretty active and dominant on Tesla over the past couple of weeks. We keep kind of mentioning that. From the 500 failure to follow through. Sure, we didn't quite get to 500. We got to about 498s, I think. Let me just go back and check for specificity. For specificity's sake. Let's see, boom, boom, boom. What is that high? 498.83. So since then, we've been kind of chop, chop, chop. Seller dominance for the past couple of weeks happening on Tesla, and more often than not, even in the blue ocean session, even during the end of the day after we've caught a bid, more often than not, just if you just go back and look at the price action, sellers keep stepping in. Take a look at this. We'll just go through it together, so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. Here, right here, prior day, selling coming in. Day before that, selling coming in in the beginning of the day. Before that, selling coming in going into the close. Before that, selling coming in off of the open. Before that, selling coming in into the close, into the close, into the close, into the close, off the open and into the close, off the open, not really into the close, chop sideways day, but off the open for sure, into the close on the day of that 500. So what I asked myself, what more do I need to see here to understand and know that sellers are in charge on a shorter, slightly shorter, but I wouldn't say bigger time frame, but over the past couple of days, few days, over the past couple of weeks is what I mean. Sellers are definitely very much in charge on this name. So where are the places I can get involved? And we kind of talked about, like, you know, selling calls and maybe buying some puts against some of those prior structures as well. We got a super chat here from G-Talk. Thank you very much, G-Talk. Please cover Netflix for my girl Phyllis. Okay, all right. Let's take a look at Netflix here. Alex, what has that been up to? Okay, we're holding. We're holding in and around this 90 area as well. I've talked about this one quite extensively when that WBD news came out, and that's been quite nice as well. You can see here, sellers very much in charge all the way down into and through those 90s. Let's go to a higher time frame here. Look at this. They were already in charge before that news came out. Back-to-back earnings got slapped down on and continues to pull back in. So where is that prior support that I see? I mean, just looking at the chart, maybe some at 85s. We closed down at 81s here. Let's see if we can kind of balance ourselves out on a higher time frame. I'm going to a weekly here now. Let's take a look at the weekly. We've been running. Why are you running? Where are you running?
These are runners.
Those are the questions I ask when I'm about to revert something. But for almost 1,100 days, we are up 600% on Netflix. That's from 2022 to 2025. Take a look at this beautiful reversion. Sure, we have news on the way. Sure, we have earnings that are good and bad. But I'm going to stand with the fact that price action is always king, and the bid has been broken. A multi-year bid on Netflix has been broken, and it's getting slapped even harder with some of those catalysts, right? Again, to reiterate the point, price precedes news. That's my look on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of have to agree with you, even though I'm kind of swinging this name here, Obi. This downtrend has not been broken. You're down 32% off of the previous high, and it's I'm not going to call it waterfall type price action, but until this breaks, this is an example that we kind of want to use here. And I know it's kind of comparing apples to oranges, but we did this on multiple occasions, and when stocks are going to rebound, I think that you're going to see some continuation here in Costco. Let's go back to a tech name, which we used as an example from before, and when we got involved with it, and this is last year to be exact. So I'm in extremely early. You have that aggressive move, obviously, from January to the lows of April, but then as soon as that trend is broken to the downside, look, it's off to the races for NVDA. Same thing here in Costco. A nice steady trend line to the downside, and then sure enough, you're getting that break. I don't think this is going to be a whipsaw move, to be honest with you. I think that you're going to see a little bit more of a sustained move here in Costco, considering what they got going on, trying to get their money back from the United States government for paying tariffs. I don't think that's going to go over well, so there is somewhat of a weight on their shoulders, but you go down 21%, Costco a staple, an American staple? Come on. With Walmart a little bit stronger here. I think this is going to be one of my picks. I told you, you're not going to see any insane returns, but from that April low, you grab a nice little 40%, which is really nice in WMT. I'm going to stick with the stronger names. So that's what we're going to look for here at Netflix, right? A good ad opportunity as soon as this trend line breaks. See, so you get this move lower, you get a nice pop higher, move lower, you get a nice couple point pop higher, so you go from 117 to 116, same thing, but it slowly starts to decrease, and that's not the most convincing thing, right? You just want to kind of go with the flow. So if we do have the ability to get somewhat of a pop, 97 is something that I'd be keeping an eye out on, and then once you have the ability to sit on the backside of this trend, then I would look to engage. You will give up a little bit on the bottom, but again, it's really hard trying to play the knife-catching game, considering full disclosure, I'm in at 93.44, and if we open up a little bit lower, this would be absolutely disastrous if you head into 82s. I won't be holding it that long. The lower we open, I'm giving it to 85s, I told myself, and then if that's the case, then I have to get out. I give it 8-point move, so I'd be looking for a 16-point move roughly for where I'm currently sitting at to have a positive risk to reward ratio. And a nice little pop in Applied Digital, 31.38s all the way up to 69s. That was a nice little move there. Again, I think I took my stabs on it. We did give back the majority of what we made on it on those couple attempts at the lows, considering the momentum really rushed. So I was providing the liquidity for Obi there on that trade. So it's all fun and games. At least one of us was a little bit more profitable on it. That's all that matters at the end of the day. Now, as for Amazon, guys, Amazon still hovering around the HOD. Nice little move, strong stock, continuous bounces. It's exactly what you want to see in a nice, strong name. And we're talking about lagging. Did we put in a new all-time high this year? Let's kind of zoom this out. See, yeah, so we did right in October, but then we come back aggressively off of that 258 zone to a low of around 214, a 17% pullback, but now holding its own and heading back towards us. I think at this pace, you're definitely going to run into this neck of the woods and see a new all-time high in Amazon in the coming months. You heard it here first. All right, no, I'm obviously playing. Not too bad of a look, but Obi.
Yes, sir.
It's 2 o'clock, my brother.
All right.
It's that time. Are the boys ready? Time flies when you're having fun and you're putting on some trades. Best of luck. I know you'll be probably sitting here for the remainder. I will be too. ONDS might be on my mind a little bit. Going to try to find a couple more trades before the end of the day. But that's it. We'll be back same time, same ad channel tomorrow. Anything you want to leave them with there, brother?
Nothing else, man. Have a good one. Have a safe rest of the trading day, and give it up for the big boys.